Good Thursday morning in the Big O as the College World Series is taking a break today as Coastal Carolina and LSU.
Are you doing an impersonation to begin the morning?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
This
I just checking. All right, go.
This is my Gary Sharp.
I don't talk like that.
In the Big O. Geez, I lost my train of thought.
He turned you into
Coastal
Dick
Carolina
Mulkey.
Championship Series.
We are in Omaha, which last night had one of the most fan-friendly, exhilarating sporting events that we have seen in the city.
It was quite the atmosphere. I'm Matt McMaster, joined by Gary Sharp, Jimmy Chavez on the ones and twos. You're listening to Gary and Matt here on 1620 The Zone. A little role reversal as you are in what we call in the biz chair number 2.
I've never sat in this chair before in the studio.
You came into the studio. I was sitting. That is what we would consider my chair. And you go, slide on over, my man, because I have
You're in charge today.
I've been
You're
driving
in charge for the next couple of days.
And you sat over there and you were so confused. You did not know your ass from your elbow.
Things are backwards over here when you sit on this side.
Isn't it a little bit more comfortable over there? Wouldn't you say? You can lean back a little. The lumbar support on the chair is more supportive.
That might be the case.
Quite the event that happened yesterday. Arkansas versus LSU. That's where we'll begin, where a rematch of one of the more hyped up first round matches in the College World Series. I remember last Saturday, we were all geared up for this first match, and it definitely didn't meet expectations, I think, just because Cade Anderson absolutely shoved, and there wasn't really that excitement that you had. And I think, the weather too might have worn down some fans. It was hot. It was sticky out there.
Oh, brother. Then what is Saturday and Sunday going to be like?
We will get there, because that is going to be it literally quite might be hell. It's like that's how, hot. It will literally be like that hot.
Your idea of hell and mine is different.
But yesterday, I think, was that baseball game that we were anticipating or hoping Saturday would be, because yesterday was competitive. Yesterday was thrilling. It wasn't the most high scoring. It wasn't 8-7. It wasn't 10-11, but it was just good baseball. It was just high quality baseball until the 9th inning, where it became the absolute opposite of that.
I think why people like college baseball, and I'm not a college baseball fan. Okay. Yeah, I like college baseball.
Yeah.
I used to like it more. And then I spent a long time in professional baseball, and you can't even compare them.
Sure.
But there is the more emotion in college baseball. And I think what college baseball is made last night perfect, because college baseball is imperfect. Okay. There are a lot of mistakes that happen in college baseball that you don't see when you go to even your minor league ballpark. You certainly don't see them in the majors.
Yeah.
But in college baseball, it is an imperfect game that there are more mistakes that are made that lead you to have moments like last night. And I have to tell you, I had quite an interesting perspective of watching that just unbelievable shrink in the moment by Arkansas. So it's no secret.
Yeah.
I've known Dave forever. I've been rooting for him, openly rooting for him to win the College World Series. And this is one of his better teams that he has brought here. Now, they never played like I expected. They didn't score runs.
Sure.
Okay, so they didn't hit home runs. So they were not close to what they were coming in here. I think that's why we'll have a great final, because I think LSU and Coastal Carolina, they played the closest to what they have been playing when they got to Omaha. And that stage changes you. That ballpark changes you. And it certainly had an impact on Arkansas. But I watched the game last night in the stands with the families of the coaching staff of Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
So Karen Van Horn, Dave's wife, and then Holland and Mariel are both here, and her husband. So sat with them. And so you ride the emotions, and they don't sit.
Jeez.
They don't sit. They don't put them near the regular fans that you see on TV, which is probably a good thing. But it's not like, everybody knows who this group of people are. So I'm sitting with them, and you ride the emotions of that game, and it's the emotions also of Arkansas LSU. So you have the SEC emotion, a familiar opponent, The crowd is buzzed. It was a great crowd last night. And then you have to win just to make it to Thursday.
Yeah.
It's not like you win and you're going to the weekend.
Yeah.
You have to win and then get to Thursday. So I'm sitting with this group.
Jeez.
And as the game is unfolding, I'm like, wow. There's you ride the high of, guy at first base just dropped the ball. Oh, now we have a 2-run lead. And then you go through that 9th inning and you don't know what to say because everybody, I think, look, knowing Dave, when Dave was at Nebraska, he was obsessed with winning a national championship for Nebraska.
Yeah.
He wanted so badly to win a national championship for Nebraska, to prove doubters wrong, to win it for Nebraska, and to say F you, Texas.
Yeah.
Because those are kind of the three. Then he got to Arkansas, and it is every day you wake up, they go, okay, how do you win a national championship? And as you work your way through your career at Arkansas, and you're not able to grab that national championship, and Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Tennessee and LSU are grabbing national championships, and you're like, okay, Arkansas, who is one of the best programs in the last decade plus, how come you don't have a national championship? And then you point to what happened in 18. You're like, well, we're on the cusp of doing that. And then I think Dave was obsessed, and then Dave didn't want to say, okay, this is what we're doing every single day. If it happens, it's going to happen. So you get to this point where I think, talking to him before the series started, he really liked this team. Like, he liked the makeup of this team. Yeah. He also liked their skill set, and he thought this was the team to navigate. So they get knocked off track, but then they fight back. So last night in the 9th inning, when you are around people that their husbands or their boyfriends, that is their livelihood, and that's going to affect in the next hour how you have to deal with them. Man, I don't know what to say. And I went into Dave's press conference at the end and had a chance to say something to him before he left the ballpark last night. I know that there is the curse that people talk about, and it might be real. There might be a curse of the Omahawks at the College World Series, what happened with the pop-up, and then what happened there in the 9th inning. But what happened is they did not meet the moment mentally on the field or in the dugout. I to this exact moment at 6:17 in the morning, after we both watched that game last night and everybody else did, I have no idea why the SEC Player of the Year at shortstop threw to third instead of completing the double play. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. But in that moment with the runner in front of him, which could have ended the game, he elects to go to third for the safe instead of trying to turn a double play. And I know people are like, well, look at the runner in the box. They probably would have turned that double play.
They would have turned that double play.
So that was a mental mistake that I still can't figure out. And then you go to the play in left field where the first step was a slip, and then you scramble and you lose the ball. And the next thing you know, we're tied at 5. And then I'll tell you another even bigger one. That why I say this was a mental collapse, and they did not meet the moment, is why in the hell were they pitching to Jared Jones with first base open? Why were they pitching to him? He had already burned you earlier in the game, and he got a redemption story because he drops a ball that allows Arkansas to take the lead, but then he comes back and he hits the dong, and LSU is right back in the game. Why did you pitch to him? So the high leverage situations, LSU met the moment. Arkansas collapsed. I'm not into curses. They probably do exist, but in that moment, Arkansas did not meet the moment. And that's something you're going to have to live with for a long, long time because that was gut-wrenching.
There's very few moments where you're watching a game and you know that fan base is not going to forget about that game for a very long time. It's very rare where you have like the I was there moments or like it's not a, hey, we're going to go to bed and you'll probably forget about a loss in a couple of days. This is going to be like for years. Probably you're going to bring up the.
Well, I mean,
hey,
look
do you remember that
the 18 is seared in people's brains. And hey, Arkansas fans, welcome to Nebraska.
Yeah,
we've been through this heartbreak.
Yes,
our groin kicks, they leave a mark. Your groin kicks, they leave a mark. So we can all relate here.
Sure, handshake meme.
Yeah, but that's the thing about being a passionate sports fan, and that's the great thing about the College World Series is it really shows you how much passion you have for the school that you root for. Is you sometimes remember the losses more than you remember the victories.
Yeah.
But 18, look at, they were, I don't even know if you could get odds of the mixed sports book on what are the odds of having two moments in that stadium, 18, and then last night, where you could not get it done. And odd things happen. Like the odds of a foul ball falling between three guys. And then last night, the SEC Player of the Year, who had done great things for you in that game, makes that mistake. I have a long drive back to Fayetteville this morning. If you came up here last night and you were thinking, man, we're going to spend the weekend.
Sure.
I'd be pulling over a couple of times because I don't know if I can get behind the wheel after a game like that.
I have a buddy who loves college baseball who was watching that game yesterday, and he was the only other guy in my group chat amongst my friends that he was texting about the game. And I gave him a call because I knew that he didn't know the emotion that was embedded into that moment, because he was just watching the game being like, oh, Arkansas has a chance to force a Thursday, and this guy just dropped the ball and what a mistake. And I had to explain to him, no. That's Dave Van Horn, and he's been chasing this title for a very long time, and he made his mark at Nebraska. And there are a lot of people who aren't Arkansas fans who love Dave Van Horn, who want to see him win for Arkansas in Nebraska. And funny enough, we talk about the drop in left field, and we talk about not turning the double play, and rightfully so, but also, too, they had a play at the very end of the walk-off, right, where it was a ball that, it was a tough play to be made by Cam Coles, the second baseman. But they panned to Dave Van Horn very quickly in the dugout, and he said to one of his coaches, he jumped too early, right? And it would have been tough to make. But I said to my buddy, I go, well, the second baseman, that's Cam Coles. He's from Omaha, playing in front of his family. He had a chance to make that play to end that game. So it's just like you have to explain the backstory of why that isn't just more than, Arkansas fell apart. Why? That is heartbreak central. I mean, there are years and years embedded to why that mattered so much more than up.
Yeah. It's hard to get here.
It's so hard to get here.
LSU has a chance to win 2 titles in the last 3 years, but it's difficult to make it to Omaha. And when you're a program like Arkansas or LSU, or even like the defending champs in Tennessee, you're expected to get here.
Crazy.
And it's a great sport because weird things happen. But I don't know, anybody that was in the ballpark last night, first of all, the 2 fan bases that were in the ballpark created the atmosphere.
Yes.
We love SEC teams here because they bring passionate sports fans. When I was driving home this morning, I was trying to think of the moments that do not involve our local teams.
Sure.
Like here in the city of Omaha, that rank as some of the greatest moments I've seen. For the longest time, the Elite 8 overtime game between Duke and KU here in Omaha is one of the best sporting events in this town I've ever been to. Watching Michael Phelps at the swim trials, break records, Katie Ledecky, all the great swimmers that were here. The Thursday night winner goes to the championship series, Skeens against Louder, that happened in 23, is one that I always remember. And that was a walk-off as well.
Yeah.
Tommy Tanks hit a bomb, and they win 2-0 in that game. Then last night is in that mix. Just the emotion, and I think because I think maybe even a little bit more is that it was such an imperfect game. There were mistakes that were made. Think about you had incredible moments of pitching.
Mm-hmm.
There was some clutch hitting.
Yeah.
There were some very, very odd decisions that were made. Again, why do you pitch to Jones with a base open? And then there were some decisions that were made out of both dugouts that were like, okay, I could see that. It was the highs, the lows, the in between. It was great theater last night.
Sure.
And you know what happened? In theater, you have winners and you have losers and you have exhilaration and you have heartbreak, and we got it all last night. Unbelievable.
It felt different. It just felt different. Just being there, just being amongst, because I walked around the concourse as well.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take a lap because I hadn't really taken a lap and really experienced it from the stands while we've been covering the CWS. And people were having a good time, but it was almost like there was a line of demarcation, right? Where you were out in the concourse and you were getting your beers and you were getting your hot dogs and you were talking. But then when you crossed into the bleachers, when you crossed into your seats, it's almost as if you went from like happy to, and you were serious. You're like, all right, we got to win a baseball game. Because I was talking to LSU fans, and the attitude was, oh, we have to win tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
if we don't win tonight, we're probably not going to win tomorrow. Because, and also too, there was the like, we want to be able to throw Anthony Ianson in the championship series. We want to be able to throw Kate Anderson in the championship series. And so it's not only, hey, if we lose tonight, we might lose tomorrow. It's even if we end up pulling it out on a Thursday, we are at a massive disadvantage playing Coastal Carolina, who, credit to them, they absolutely cruised by Louisville yesterday. I mean, that wasn't even
it was a terrible game.
Yeah.
They won 26 in a row for a reason.
I mean, six runs in the first inning, and then it was just, zeros on the board, and you kind of knew what the outcome of the game was probably 25 to 30 minutes into it, and now they'll face off against LSU in that championship series. But it was different than any other game that had been played, from an atmosphere perspective, from a nervousness perspective, but also just from you knew the two teams understood the stakes of that.
I think
game.
It's because on the marquee it said LSU Arkansas. That's why it was different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two SEC teams playing that are two of the best, and they basically drove to Omaha to play a best 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
that's what they
seriously.
did. That's what they did, and LSU won both of those games. And I know a lot of the story is about Arkansas, and rightfully so. But LSU, I mean, you get so Tommy White's walk off was an absolute. He crushed the ball a couple years ago, but what Jones was able to do to get him back into the game. I mean, last night also, there was another part, and then this is like cliche.
Yeah.
Last night was like sports. Like you fail more often than not, especially in baseball. And baseball is such a great team sport. Like if a guy goes 5 for 5, man, you're rooting for him. If he's 0 for 5, you're picking him up because you need everybody pulling in the right direction to have a good night. But it's like everything that you want out of sports happened last night in that stadium. Like you want the highs, you want the lows, you want the WTFers.
Yeah.
Like everything. That's why that moment, that game last night, and probably the first like 5 innings will be forgotten about.
Sure.
But from the 6th inning on,
oh my God,
people in this town will talk about that night. And the next thing you know, there'll be 45,000 Omahans that were actually in the stadium. And they're like, man, you know what? I was nervous and I was pacing on the concourse, and then the ball was hit to left field and I could see it. How come Davalin couldn't see it?
Yeah.
It'd be one of those things. And so that's why it will rank as, I mean, it slipped into my top 5 all-time non-local team moments in Omaha.
It's been incredible because there are not too many sporting events where you go to where you get to say, I was there.
Well, you how many sporting events do you go that you watch a collapse?
Very rarely.
You can't run away from this. That was a collapse.
Oh my God,
by Arkansas
of epic proportions.
Yeah, LSU got a couple of knocks.
Yeah,
but that game should have been over.
That game should have been over 2 different times.
Yeah. And the play that is going to be the one is why throw it to third. Why throw it to third? You're the SEC Player of the Year at shortstop. You don't do that normally. And in that moment, of all moments where the game comes to an end, even if you only get the force at second, right? That's still 2 out. And the run at third.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
No.
And you're still set up pretty well. But I think there would be a better chance of turning a double play. And that's the play that's going to stick to me because I know why Davalin in left field, he slipped right away.
Yeah.
And Dave explained in the postgame is this happens, then you scramble to find, because that ball was hit hard.
Yes.
I mean, that ball was crushed to left field. So you slip, and then all of a sudden, everything goes out the window. And then the next thing you have to do is not get up, but also start to track the ball again.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was unfortunate.
By the way, sounds impossible.
Yeah,
to do.
That was unfortunate. But the play at shortstop is the one that if I'm an Arkansas fan, I maybe just keep driving. I'm going back to Fayetteville, but I keep driving. I maybe drive into the ocean.
They should. Yeah, I mean, you say that like jokingly, and obviously don't do that. But that is that type of loss where it's like not one. Very rarely. I've seen it before where it's like, okay, here's the out to win. I literally saw it a month ago in that same stadium, Michigan State versus Nebraska. where
Oh, yeah.
that right fielder had a chance to end that game and he drops the ball, right? And I've seen it just happen once, right? And you give Nebraska an inch and they took a mile and they win that game. But to have it happen twice, to have those two different opportunities to just end it, to it be over, you run to the dugout, you celebrate for 20 minutes and you go, all right, guys, not only do we have to play tomorrow, but we have a legitimate shot to win. We're probably the favorites to win that game. You had two different opportunities and you blow both of them.
Well, they had a hat trick of mistakes. So
and
if
Jones,
I had to
Jones.
rank the mistakes,
sure.
The play at shortstop is number one. Number two is why did you pitch to Jones? And then the third one would be the play in left field.
I would probably put the play in left field above the reason of not walking Jones, only just because I understand that he slipped, but still you can make the argument like you can't slip there, right? You just can't.
Yeah, but that's one of those things where like you could explain. I can't explain why Aloy threw to third.
Sure,
I can, and I get your point. I can explain. It happens in the outfield. Guys slip.
Sure.
Okay, their first step might be a bad angle, and they try and overcorrect, and so they slip. The play at shortstop, and I know,
and it was, by the way, cookie cutter.
And it was a little bit to the right, but still, he's good enough.
Yeah.
And you know, here's the thing about when you have a moment like that, those guys were crushed. They were absolutely crushed, and he was asked to come to the press conference and did not.
And he, that's fine. That's totally fine to say that, in my opinion. I mean, to not come to the press conference
and leave your two teammates out there.
For me, it's a little bit different with the pros, where it's like you're a professional, you're an adult, right? You're a grown up.
You're gonna be a pro here shortly. You left your two teammates up there.
I know.
They answer questions.
Are these guys getting paid already?
But I mean, yeah, but it's a little bit different.
I'm not going to crush the kid.
I know,
but I'm saying that wasn't the greatest look. If you know what, you make the offer, and if Arkansas determines, hey, he can't, and he was distraught. He was absolutely distraught. Then you choose somebody else, because you have the head coach sitting at the podium. Then you have an open spot where you have a nameplate, and then you have two teammates who came and faced the music, and they're being asked questions about him, and it's not they're not doing they're not doing justice.
I just feel because Coach Van Horn did a great job in the press conference and saying, "Look, we don't get here without Charles Davalin. And he made that very clear. And what touched me even more is he talked about him having that moment, the moment that he had with Charles, and telling him, "Don't tell me sorry. You don't have to tell me you're sorry." And then he goes, "He told me sorry again right after that." And you kind of, it's one of those things. Is I remember I've had those moments with my dad, where I've messed up, and that same exact, "Hey, don't tell me you're sorry. You're fine." And then there was this awkward pause where it seemed like he was waiting for a question, and a question didn't come in. And then once again, he just kind of said into the microphone, just, "That kid has nothing to be sorry about. Yeah. He has nothing. He doesn't need to say sorry to anybody about anything." And I think, to me, that communicated in that moment how just distraught and just broken down that play made.
Yeah.
And it's just,
and I think so. I hope people go back and watch DVH's post game.
Really good post game.
It was one of his.
It was really good.
It was one of his better moments, and I don't think 7 years ago he would have handled that well, because I think what happened in 18 changed him a little bit. Like he is bigger. This is just my observation, knowing him as a friend.
Sure,
he has become. It's more than the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a hard ass when he was here. Guys didn't like playing for him until they were done playing for him, and then they realized what he had their best interest at heart. But they were so driven to win when he was the head coach at Nebraska, that maybe in the moment those things got lost. But then if you talk to guys like Dan Johnson and Matt Hopper and even Will Bolt, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's why he was doing this and this and this." And I think after they lost the game they lost that series against Oregon State, it really became, hey, this is more than a game. I always want to win a championship.
Yeah.
I always want to be successful, but it's become more than a game. And I thought last night after the game, he said all the right things because, man, I could tell he was crushed. And he's not retiring. I asked him, Connor was standing there with me the first day they played. And I said, I go, man, well, are you going to take a victory lap around the stadium because you're retiring, I hear? And he goes, what am I going to do? He goes, I'm 64. He goes, Karen doesn't want me at home. What am I going to do? He goes, I'm not retiring.
That's
and they keep knocking on the door. And will he ever get one? I mean, he's got a Hall of Fame career. He got one at Central Missouri State when he was 34 years old. That's a long line. He's now 64, so that's 30 years ago. He might win a title in Omaha, and I hope he does, man. And I again,
so close.
He's one of my favorite people, and we're friends. And he might win a title. His title that he wins at Arkansas might be when you least expect it. But this was the team. This was the team. This was the field. And
do you think it was the moment?
Well, I think also the team they were playing was pretty damn good last night.
Yeah.
But I think if they would have won last night, they could have been set up in a good spot to win. I mean, they still had to win last night, and then they had to win tonight if they got there. But I think they would have been in a better spot. I don't know. They had a mental collapse that you can't fully explain.
It's one of those, and you brought it up. It was one of the first things that you said when we started talking about, college baseball is a little bit different because it's a worse product.
It's imperfect.
Right? It's an imperfect product. And you will get some games in college baseball where it's just ugly. It's just ugly. It's not even like it's weird to watch, right? Like Louisville has kind of played a couple of those games. But college baseball, when it's perfectly imperfect, meaning there's that you mix the high quality, hey, these guys are great and they are really good baseball players, but then you kind of weave in like, oh, here's an error and here's a mental mistake.
Isn't that because you don't have, not everybody's a pro?
Yes.
Like you mix pros with guys that their career playing baseball is going to end in Omaha.
Yeah. Well, and also too, you kind of get to, when you're watching the pros, and this isn't just a baseball thing, you can say this about all pro sports, where it becomes a little bit too perfect. Like it becomes like a little bit too routine, where it is a little like, they're not going to make that mistakes. And even the stuff that isn't routine becomes routine. And I compare it, like I talk about like men's volleyball versus women's volleyball, right? Women's volleyball is a more entertaining product because there is those mistakes and there are more volleys, right? And even though the men's game is bigger and it's faster and they jump higher, because you don't have those mistakes and it's just, set and spike and, it doesn't last that long, that product doesn't do as well, right? Yesterday was what kind of made college baseball in a way perfect to some people because you just had those mistakes. But I'm glad you just said what you said about joking, or just, I know you're part joking, but you're part serious, asking Coach Van Horn, like, hey, I heard you're going to retire. Because if he said to you, yeah, this could be it, this could be, we could be done here. Like, if I win it, we're over and I get to ride off in the sunset, it would make it a little bit more heartbreaking because you have your eyes.
It would.
You have your eyes on the end of the tunnel. You have your eyes on that perfect goodbye. And now you have to contemplate with yourself, is this how I'm going to really go out? The fact that he's like, hell no, what else would I do? I just rot on my couch if I didn't do coach baseball, makes me a little bit happier knowing, all right, it's going to be really tough to get over this one. But at some point, they're going to clap the hands and they're going to say, hey, we're back at it.
In the ninth, his team didn't meet the moment. What he did post game
was great.
And I know that he's getting crushed in Arkansas.
I mean,
but you know what? Yeah, why that reaction? You've been around them.
I know.
Arkansas baseball is what Nebraska football is here, right?
Yeah.
Whether right or wrong,
it's tough.
He's going to get run through the ringer.
Yeah.
About got to Omaha, couldn't win another one. He met the moment in the way he handled that because he didn't show that he was absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
But man, being with people that
I can't believe
their husbands
you watched that game.
Their husbands or boyfriends that's their livelihood. Because I mean, I've heard stories of like coaches' wives and some of the crap they get, and they go through it because that's their best friend.
Yeah. Yes.
Man, of all games to be where I was, wow. I walked away. Like you don't because I'm in my head. I'm going, oh my God, what is going on?
And I just
and there's just nobody says anything, and I'm
laughing. I'm laughing because I have no idea how I would be in that situation in terms of, you obviously want them to win and you're rooting for them, but then like, you just know the people around you, this is an entirely different level that they're going through.
And then like people are staring, they're like, like, okay, is people going to start crying? It was a weird, like last night, the beauty of sports is it had it all. And we're starting to, whether you dislike the downtown corporate day trader, we're starting to rack up some moments that are attached to that stadium, like we had at Rosenblatt.
Mm-hmm.
And that game last night, from the 6th inning on, will be on that list forever.
Well, it's funny too. So we're starting to rack up moments, and you mentioned two of them, right? Yesterday, well, three of them.
The game one, 23-24.
Yeah, you mentioned 2018. You mentioned yesterday. You mentioned the Lauer versus Skeens. All three of those games include an SEC team, right? And then you have to mention now the no-hitter that happened a couple of days ago between Arkansas and Murray State. That's another moment. Hey,
is that even the biggest moment of this College World Series?
I don't know. Not after yesterday.
Yeah,
not after. And funny enough, I really did think that we kind of just blew right past the Gage Woods no-hitter in a way. Like, oh, it happened and it was really cool. But and he went on McAfee and it was on ESPN. But I didn't think we came back to the ballpark the next day.
No,
saying, "Oh my God, I still can't believe there was."
We probably got to talk about that at some point of why 19 strikeout no-hitter. Just as kind of.
Can I tell you why? Yeah. It was Murray State.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it was.
You're right.
He didn't do it against Arizona. He didn't do it against a Big 12 team or an SEC team or an ACC team. He did it against the Cinderella, who we all kind of knew Arkansas was going to find a way to win that game and whatever. Yep. But it yesterday topped anything. And it just sucks that was the moment because you have rubbed off on me in terms of me wanting Dave Van Horn to finally win that national championship for Arkansas. And so I wanted Arkansas to win too. And just to go through that heartbreak, that it just sucks that the moment that we're going to remember is the one that is the most heartbreaking for the guy who wants it the most, who has the most ties to this state.
Yeah, I think early there was part of him that wanted it for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think he wants it for the kids that he coaches, have played there, and he also wants it for their fans. But, man, what a night, man.
Yeah.
That game had it all.
Well, we've had a couple of moments of this College World Series, and funny enough, we're not done. We still got the championship series, which is going to include two of the best teams in the country who've been playing incredible baseball. Coastal Carolina looks absolutely awesome. LSU, after having to start that game against UCLA, have a rain delay, might be, you're kind of thinking, man, they might have gotten screwed over by their. What are you doing?
So that's what Coastal Carolina does. I don't know. It's a shunt.
Okay.
The shunts are going to the ship. The shunts are going to the ship.
We need a
That's what they kept doing yesterday.
Well, it's
the shunts are going to the ship.
It's going to be a hell of a
The shunts are going to the ship. The shunts are going to the ship. The shunts are going to the ship.
It's going to be a hell of a series between the Tigers and the Chanticleers, but it's going to be a hell of a show. All right. My voice might be gone.
Maybe.
You might be really tired. We're kind of crawling here, but we're not going to be crawling for the next 3 hours. We're going to have the mighty Steve Sipple on at 9:15. Willie's going to say, he'll probably be like, we got to be careful here, guys, because Dave Van Horn is one of the best coaches and we can't relate the collapses to him. And then we're going to have Brian Edwards on at 9:45, who's going to tell us who we should bet for this College World Series.
LSU early favorite, minus 190.
Yeah, give me the Chanticleers.
The shots are going to the ship. The shots are going to the ship.
Hey, your lineup is brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Hey, and also don't forget to email us at the Equitable Bank inbox, Matt at 1620 Zone, Gary at 1620 Zone.
Take these off.
J-Tech. Yeah, I can't believe you did an entire emotional segment with glasses you just found over there, which look like the glasses you do at like the shooting range. You look like an American sniper right now. Are you going to switch hats, by the way? Because I went back and I watched the replay from our show yesterday.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. I caught it at the end, but the entire time you just kept switching hats. Like every segment was a different hat. It took me like 8 segments to finally point it out, which I felt like an idiot. Also, if you want to call in, give us your thoughts in the game, where you're at the game, where does that rank for College World Series moments for you? Call in the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 402-951-1620 Zone, and tweet at us at the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, Matt McMedia, at Gary Sharp. Good show ahead of you. You're listening to Gary Matt at 1620 Zone.
Hip. Just something about sitting in this seat, huh?
Yeah, doesn't it make you appreciate the music a little bit more?
Hey, we had an oddity last night after the game ended.
What was the oddity?
Okay.
I made a funny joke.
Did I see you after the game?
No, you didn't. You saw me. I saw you.
We spent time together yesterday.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I went down into the area and no one knew I was there because I was like, I haven't seen you in like 4 days.
I know.
And talked to you outside the show. It was nice.
All I hear is stories of the Four Musketeers. Just when I'm working, you guys are everywhere. You're sitting in suites. You have the door locked and you're talking to Rich Hill for 2 hours.
I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I've been
So
everywhere.
I saw it yesterday during that really, really bad baseball game that kicked off the day.
First off, they put you in the worst. Like, that's a bad corner to be in terms of like the heat is there and it feels like
it was fine.
Humidity.
It was fine.
Building. I got hot. I was getting hot now.
But remember,
with you. You are.
I
forget.
like
You're weird. You're literally.
I like the heat. You know what? I have already thought this in my head because I'm going to get questioned about this. Am I going to turn on my air beginning tomorrow?
Oh,
so we are going to have a heat wave, a real heat wave. The next 3 days, it's going to beginning tomorrow, all in the hundreds. Now, in all seriousness, Saturday and Sunday are going to be a bitch. And you got to be prepared. Like
that's
if you're
an
going,
official weather.
If you're going to the game, like it ain't a joke. It ain't a joke. They're gonna the heat index is gonna be like 110. So there ain't no fooling here.
No.
So you have to prepare yourself, and we might have more people hanging out outside of the ballpark in air conditioned party areas, but Saturday will be one of those days. Man, don't be a rookie if you're gonna drink because you're gonna be done. You're gonna be passed out.
Pedialyte.
Yeah, Fat Man's Weight Loss Paradise beginning tomorrow for the next 3 days. But I'm already contemplating.
You won't turn on your AC. You didn't do it last summer
because when I came home this morning,
I bet you save a lot of money. By the way,
it was I like to save money.
Yeah,
but that has nothing to do with it.
No, I know. I'm
also saving the environment. Less people are saving the environment these days, but I am.
I crank up that AC. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
But I think
there's no way this weekend unless you're trying to prove a point. The AC will stay off.
But if I have the blinds the right way and the ceiling fans going, it will not be unbearable.
You should turn on your AC.
I mean, I might. I probably will.
Just get it
but
down
I'm just
to
telling
80.
you, it's not an automatic that it's going to be 100 for 3 days in Omaha, and I'm turning on the AC.
You got to 90 last summer and didn't do it, so I think you get to 88 by Monday.
Well, I lost my power for like 5 days.
We get to like 85, and I'm like, put that sucker on 62, baby.
Well, I will admit the fifth day I was like, I'm going to a hotel. I don't care if it's a bad hotel or not. I'm going to a hotel.
There's a certain point where you're like, this bit is run its course. I don't need to be hot anymore. What was the oddity though that happened?
Okay, so everything the way that game transpired, and man, you have like it was just so the LSU players are sprinting out of the dugout to go celebrate with Jones, and he takes them all the way to center field.
Yeah.
Well, the Arkansas players have to come, and they're going to left field to console Davelin.
Oh, no.
And, you have, like, the sounds in the stadium. You had one team celebrating. Half the stadium is celebrating. The other half is silent. But then, and the good thing about the NCAA when it comes to your season is over, but we know you have to have a press conference, is they have the winning team go first. Mm-hmm. So you have a little bit of a cooling down period.
Yeah.
But, guys that's it. That's the end of the season. That might be the end of their career. They're going to linger in the dugout. They're going to go out and they're going to pick up some dirt from the infield. And they're also probably crying. I mean,
oh my God. And and no shame in that.
So you still have last night, the Arkansas players are distraught. Okay, they're in the dugout. Some of them have come out of the dugout and they're being consoled by their families. It's time, kids, to run the bases. So Monday night after the game, they were supposed to run the bases. The kids run the bases, but because of the rain out, they pushed it to last night. Now, they couldn't have predicted that it was going to have that kind of emotion at the end of the game. I think, and the problem is they promoted it, so you already knew about it, so they couldn't just like cancel it. But you have kids running the bases,
screaming,
yelling,
having the greatest time of their life.
Johnny, stop so I can take a picture.
They
Best
don't.
day ever.
They, by the way, they are oblivious. They don't know. They don't really know what happened.
And
They don't care.
And you've
They
got
don't
the
give a
and you got
damn.
the Arkansas players who, man, barely. I mean, their eyes are swelling up because of what just happened. It was such
By
the
the way,
weird
this is-
dynamic of what was going on. But I don't know if like they could have waited a little bit longer, and by then parents are like, screw it, we got to get home, or I don't want to stick around any longer. But they said, now it's time for kids to run the bases. Ah! And then in the background, you hear, I mean, it was like really, really odd.
By the way, this is straight out of like Curb Your Enthusiasm. that bit, like Larry, like accidentally in pregame,
Minor League
like,
Baseball,
hit a piece of the out, like he was walking in the outfield in the pregame, and he like put something down on the ground, and then that caused Davelin to like slip and fall and like miss the home or miss the fly ball, and then Larry's in the stands and he's freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I caused this guy to like lose the game, and then all of a sudden they go, time to run the bases, and Larry's got to watch these kids. By the way, some of those kids definitely, because I've been around a lot of I don't know if you saw it, but I am now the bigger brother to Robbie Odson, the son of Josh Odson, who
did not know that.
is now like I made the mistake of, he hit me, right? Like he punched me. No, this is not true.
no surprise.
I started hitting the top of his head. Okay.
Yeah.
That's abuse.
And then he like hit me. And I go, ow, 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 you're so strong. And then like he thought it was really funny. So now he just comes and he beats me up and everything like that. And so I've now realized that kids, and not that this was ever a doubt, but kids don't give an F anymore. They don't care. Okay. Kids to this day still do whatever the hell that they want to do. And I can just imagine the kids are running the bases and one goes, that's where the guy didn't turn the double play. It was right here. It was, oh my God, that's where you made the mistake. Like, sorry, Arkansas. Sorry, you guys lost. And then they go and they run. That is incredible. I wish I didn't leave the game early.
I don't think you're too old.
Oh, no. Not to run the bases. I meant to see that moment. Can you imagine if I was running the bases, how funny that would be? You talk about, what do you always say to me? Don't embarrass us. Would you have been embarrassed or would you have been laughing?
I've been laughing.
Yeah. Hey, we will be laughing throughout the rest of this show. We got a good one ahead of you. Steve Sipple, Ryan Edwards. We got to talk a little bit more about the College World Series. It's been a good these last 2 days have been some good atmospheres, some good weathers, but that definitely is going to turn on a dime in a couple of days. We have some Husker topics to talk about. We also have something that happened yesterday that kind of shook the sports world in a way that I still don't understand why it happened. We'll talk about that coming up next year on Gary and Matt. Okay.
Nice. Some DMB.
You are you doing an impression of me over there today? Is
Like
that your
what?
goal? Like you're gonna sing every time there's a good song, or maybe you're gonna dance a little bit?
No, you got to remember that I have been in my house for a week,
Yeah.
and when we do shows
Oh,
together,
sure.
I can't hear the music.
So I didn't realize that, but there definitely were times.
Them's the rules, and they can't
We're-
air the show on the
we're-
internet.
Drives people nuts, by the way.
What?
Hey, with all of our wonderful streamers,
Yes.
when I'm a streamer and I can't hear the music, I'm right there with you. It sucks. It sucks. Why can't we? Is this a rule or
I have no
It's
clue.
some sort of rule.
It's called this little thing called copyright, and if we get too many strikes, then
Which is
the
a
Zone
rule.
TV does no longer exist anymore.
Oh, that would not be good.
Yeah,
mean,
Nick
that'd be
Grimm,
good.
Nick
that
Grimm would not
marquee
be
is still
happy
there.
at you at all if that were to be a case. So we can't play. Play music.
Why can't you guys have 16 on the Zone TV anymore? Well, because I want to hear the whole Dave Matthews band album. Okay?
I'm a really big fan of Ozzy Osbourne.
I just decided that we should probably hear all 37 cuts off Morgan Wallen's last track.
Dude, he makes musical tracks. It's crazy how many songs are on that guy's albums. Like, and half of them are like, okay. He's not even.
He's being CO or CA or back home in GA.
No, I'm not. I'm Morgan Wallen is just
UT
becoming,
on the TV.
do you know what they've been playing a lot in the OBV? Zach Top. You know Zach Top?
Yeah.
I'm a big Zach
Oh, you said
Top
Zach
fan.
Thomas. Man,
He's
great
he's
linebacker.
he's like newer, but he's like country. He's none of this pop stuff. We got too much pop.
You know, it was country night last night at the ballpark.
Yeah, and then the guy like crashed into the wall riding a fake horse, which was really funny.
Which
D Wayne.
Jimmy will know this. D Wayne. People are mixed on D Wayne.
Why?
I don't
Why?
know. I don't know. I think some people think D Wayne's act has run its course. I like him personally. Like him as a
Sure.
I mean,
Great-
I think he's
great
very
guy.
talented in what he does.
Oh, you're talking
but
about Dwayne
away
Lucas.
away from like what his job is, just knowing him as a dude. I like him a lot. But people they crush him at Nebraska basketball games now because I think
You either die a hero,
yes,
or
that's
you
true.
live long enough
That's
to see
true.
yourself become the
But
villain.
Jimmy will remember this. So the first thing you think of when you see a horse run into a wall is what happened with Double T at Texas Tech.
Mhm.
So at Texas Tech, they have the horse, just
Okay.
like the Broncos. The horse comes out.
Everyone loves a horse.
The horse
that on a
at Texas
t-shirt.
Tech. This wasn't when Nebraska played there, but we had the fortune of playing there. Look at I just said we. Well, because I was part of the
I was
broadcast.
going to say
You
this
were, I was about to
dates.
say.
So it was the next game afterwards, because they had a tribute to the horse. So the horse got spooked and ran into the wall and died on the field
No,
during a
Whoa,
game.
I did not.
Yeah.
What, Jimmy? Why are you laughing? That's terrible.
It was a different time. Whatever. Laughing.
Back,
you don't.
back
You don't.
then on the track
I
when
mean-
the horse wouldn't get out of the starting gate and they just shot it.
Was-
That was funny.
You don't
Now
remember
it's like,
what
Now it's like,
Oh
oh,
no!
where do I protest?
That I was about to say.
Back
you're gonna
then, it
have
was
people with
different.
Signs out there. ESPN is going to do a moment of silence for the
Yeah.
horse.
Barbaro gripped this country about
Hey,
20 years ago.
Poll question: was the world better when animals could just die without a problem? That's what you're saying, Jimmy.
Jesus, that sounds terrible. when
Well,
put
you
it
just
that
said
way.
it was a
maybe
different
I-
time. You're laughing your butt off.
maybe I had to word that question a little bit differently.
I'm bad at making poll questions. You can ask Josh Hodson. I've been trying to.
True or false? Death's bad.
Yeah, the Double T ran right into the wall during a
Mhm.
game. It got spooked,
Mhm.
and the rider couldn't control it,
Mhm.
and it made a right-hand turn and ran right into a wall.
Isn't that
And
like,
those days, they didn't have those protective helmets, so it was a different time.
I didn't
On the
know-
rider or the horse?
on the horse? I
Both.
was about to say.
No, horses don't wear protective helmets,
no,
do
they don't. No, blinders are not protective. They're not. They're not wearing hockey helmets. They're not wearing a Jofa helmet on top of their head to protect them.
Speaking of horses,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so you get to visit with. I'm going to use the word visit. That's an old person's term.
Yes, old
Like-
people visit.
Like, let's go over to my grandpa and grandma's house so we can visit with them.
That is not an old person.
Yeah,
Yes,
Like,
it
come over
is.
for a visit.
My
Like,
in-laws,
that's
they
just
all
called
visit.
hospitality.
No, I think
No.
that the phrase visit
It's
is like
visiting.
an old term.
Sure.
Matt, if you come over this afternoon, we'll visit.
So
Okay.
you
Okay.
you get to know the other radio teams, the individual radio
Oh.
teams,
I got a story.
and
I
the
remember
and the Louisville announcer Really, really nice guy. He told me his name, and 3 times it was a different name, but that's beside the point. We were talking about Vince Morrow.
Oh, okay.
So he has become like the heel, leaving Kentucky to go to Louisville.
Sure.
And I said, how's Vince going over? I go, we know Vince around here. And he said, you got to understand something. He goes, in Louisville, he goes, people talk basketball and horses. He goes, if you tuned in to the station we're on today that is carrying a sports talk show, they're not going to talk about Louisville baseball being in the College World Series. He goes, they're going to talk about horses and basketball. He goes, I told Vince that. I said, good luck. You're coming to a town where you think everybody's going to talk about Louisville football?
Sure.
No, unless you're riding a horse.
On a basketball court.
You
can combine both.
I think I want to move to Louisville. Can you imagine? All
For
right,
the
we're joined by
horses?
Irad Ortiz Jr. Irad, how you doing in our weekly sit down?
I mean, there's absolutely no way the sports talk show in Louisville talks
Horses.
every day horses.
Yeah.
Now, they might have picks every day.
I kind of want to tune in and find out.
So
Talk
this
about-
horse is
talk
going
about-
to the
talk
stud
about-
farm. What
Talk
will
about
his
Nick's
life be
sports
like?
book. I would taking a break here in Omaha. I would be bankrupt over in Louisville.
Did you meet any of your radio guys?
I did not.
The Murray State guys were fantastic.
I
by
did
the way.
meet the Murray State
Yeah,
guys.
they were
cool.
great.
I was going to tell you. So I was
And then
trying,
the Arkansas guys I've known for a long time. They're the same guys that have been doing it forever.
I was trying to set up an interview with Dave Van Horn.
Yeah.
For the show today. And it's a little bit different when you like meet fans of Arkansas who are like really invested into the team. It's a whole other level when you meet the people who are like the SIDs and like they are actively like rooting for the team to win, and it's like their livelihood. And so
When did you ask?
during the 4th inning,
10:30.
so like during the middle of the game, I walked up to him.
Hey,
And
tough break, coach.
No. I was.
If
just
you don't
like-
mind getting up early
like-
tomorrow, you don't have a game.
I walked up there. It wasn't like the middle of the game, but I was like,
Hey, Jinxie Smurf.
I was just like,
Hey.
I noticed my
Hey.
mistake right away, and I was
Championship
like,
series
I
this
go-
weekend.
I go,
Eh.
if you guys win, and the guy goes, yeah, okay. Like he was like,
What? Come
was
on,
locked
man.
in. Well, we're not gonna
If
have,
you guys win.
we're not gonna have DVH on if he loses. That'd be a really tough interview.
Yeah, trust me, we're not having him on.
I know. I mean, it would be.
Hey, the
really,
Oilers
really
lead
tough.
35-3. If you guys hold on here and beat Buffalo, can we have Warren Moon on tomorrow
As
morning?
soon as I asked him, I was like, this probably wasn't my best idea.
Did you just drop your head in shame and walk away, or did you continue the conversation?
No, Mr. Oliver was very nice and was like, hey, I got you. Don't worry. Here's my number. You can go ahead and give me a text.
Yep, 28-3 in the
And
Super Bowl. What's the worst that can happen?
We end up. No, they weren't. They were up 1-0 at the time.
Oh,
Okay, they were only up 1.
Yeah.
There was a lot of game left.
Talk about the
Okay, and he was like, "Don't worry, I'll get back to
talk
you."
about the
Needless
game
to
tomorrow
say,
with them again. Game 3.
Old Ollie didn't get back.
No, because you know what? They didn't win the game. Is there any part of this whole discussion of last night's game about LSU?
No.
Is this all about Arkansas?
Yes.
We don't
Yeah.
want to. We don't want to talk about a redemption story of Jared Jones.
No, because
who by the way,
he was great.
Who dropped the ball,
Well, I mean, he had it.
but he
had a
came
great
back,
game.
and then he comes
He went
back
3 for 5
and he hits
yesterday,
a home run.
and he cranked that thing.
I mean, so that's what I mean. I want to be fair here because a lot of it is, more. In my opinion, more. Excuse me. More games are lost than won,
Sure.
and I think that game you cannot, even if you're a diehard LSU fan and you're the guy in the pickup truck that drives around downtown Omaha with Mardi Gras Mike, which there is something about.
A guy with Mardi Gras that begins his nickname.
No, have you not seen the Mardi Gras Mike?
No.
The gigantic tiger.
Oh, that's
that
what
is
we're
on the
calling that
trailer?
thing? Yeah.
No, it says it
okay.
right on the side. It's Mardi Gras Mike.
I've just seen
because
the
they
tiger.
pull it in Mardi Gras parades.
Okay.
But he
I thought
so
Mardi Gras Mike was a real dude for a
so they
second.
drive it around downtown Omaha. There is something about pulling up behind it, and you got a tiger's ass just staring you right in the face. Okay, they're just
Did it make you an LSU fan?
and they've got music playing, and they've got neck playing, and I'm like,
oh my god,
why in my lifetime have I never relocated to the party capital of the world, the state of
We
Louisiana.
all have those moments
can
in
you-
our next life.
Because they are the LSU fan base is a walking party.
Oh my God.
Okay,
They're
they
great.
might have some things that they have to overcome in the state of Louisiana that we don't have to here in the great state of Nebraska. But
Or
LSU
muggy.
fans are a walking party. They have I think it's a 30-foot tiger. That's what it is. On the back of a trailer pulled by a pickup where the guy's got speakers out the window playing the LSU fight song or just random
sick.
music or neck, which you know how what the phrase is in that. That just drives around the ballpark. And then he parks it. And then he parks it right now. It is parked on 13th Street.
So that I was going to say is the best part. That it's not because, I've seen some pretty big statues like that, like the Tropicana frog, right? Kind of made its way around Chicago a little bit, and it would be displayed. And it would just
Is
be
this the part where you tell me you're an expert on statues?
No. I just love that it's just in the middle of nowhere. It's just not in the middle of nowhere, but it's just in the middle of downtown. There's not a special spot where he didn't get anything. It's just like any other car. Here's a big old tiger just parked here.
I'd like to talk to the guy and maybe somebody's listening and knows him, because I want to know what the reaction was when you were driving that up from Louisiana.
Can you imagine when I was running late to the OBV and we were doing, I was on the phone and I was driving and I was trying to make it on time, if I got caught behind that tiger? Do you know how pissed I would be if I was running late to something and I got trapped behind a 30-foot tiger that says Mike the Tiger, Mardi Gras Mike the Tiger, and it's just playing music? I would be infuriated. Can you imagine if you were just in Louisiana and you're giving birth to your child? And you're trying to get your wife to the hospital. You get stuck in traffic, and all you're looking at is a tiger's ass.
But wouldn't that be
a good omen?
That would be a good omen. Some people say when it rains on your wedding day, that's a good omen. Wouldn't that be if you live in Louisiana and you're an LSU fan?
You name your kid Mardi Gras Mike.
But honestly, there's no from the LSU perspective, Jones is a story because it's a story of redemption, kind of like his whole career.
I just don't think the story is about LSU because LSU should have lost that game. Okay, there was two different opportunities.
I'm just trying to give him. I'm just trying to see if we can find a way to give him props.
Oh, I give him props for taking advantage of the moment. You have to put yourself in a situation where you are close enough where a missed fly ball and a missed double play actually matters, right? You actually have to be competitive within that game against a hell of a team. So I give them a ton of credit.
Now, there's the weird thing.
Okay,
so I think we're going to be very, very fortunate because Morrison-Anderson Saturday night's going to be a banger. And usually game ones of College World Series at that ballpark of late have been great games.
Sure.
It continues the story of LSU baseball in 2025. I love Jay Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I do too.
I think it's very unique that in a sport that is very regionalized and a sport where you kind of have to know your surroundings, that a guy from California is the head coach at LSU and has a chance to win a second national title in 3 years, put another number up on the Dominator at Alex Box, is that he has a team that is really, really good, that people don't talk about this LSU team like they talk about others, and I think it's a couple of things. And I brought this up on the broadcast, and I brought it up on the show the other day, and it had a little bit to do with the fans. Now, the fans are coming. Oh. LSU fans are coming. They're coming, man. They're coming. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. They're going to be coming. They're going to be coming to Omaha. They're going to be coming.
Start talking Louisiana French.
Hey, there are people they're doing the sniff test. Louisiana, they say build it and they will come.
Yeah.
What they're saying for the College World Series this weekend with LSU in the final. Put alcohol in it and they will come. And they're in the sniff test. They go, I can smell that Jello shot.
I walked into an LSU tailgate and I told them that I was on the radio broadcast. And they were like, all right, well, you just have a single instead of a double.
But they're even the fans were a little bit muted, even though it is friggin' LSU. But the thing about this team, the 23 team, we're like, dude, that's Paul Skeens. That's Tommy Tanks.
That's Dylan Cruz.
Hey, they're loaded.
Yeah.
This team is really, really good. Didn't get a great national seed. And they're number one, and he might even be the number one overall pick who will pitch on Saturday night. Cade Anderson isn't that guy that you go, whoa,
Yeah.
I can hear the mitt popping in row 37. He's just a guy that throws strikes, and he actually may move pretty quick up to the majors. But they just do everything well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They're well coached.
They're just a good team that probably doesn't get the attention of what good teams do because we compare LSU teams to so many others. I love the final because you have a team that's won 26 in a row that happens to play in a mid-major conference but is not a mid-major, and it's location in Conway, South Carolina. I think we're set for a good one. I just wanted to be fair to all, from Kellyanne on down to Gino, to the LSU fans that are out there, that we did not ignore and make it all about Arkansas last night, so I tried.
You doing everything well. I watched them pretty intently in that before the rain delay during the UCLA game.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was really impressed about was this team. Okay, yeah, they weren't hitting the long ball minus Jerry Johnson, but they hit to every part of the field. And it was like UCLA would shift to the right and a left-handed hitter would come up and he would hit it the opposite direction. Right-handed hitter would see a hole. You couldn't throw it better than what they were doing. Like they're not only just like a talented baseball team, but they're a smart baseball team. But it also is, there have been so many good LSU teams that they are now held to the standard of those teams. And when they don't reach those standards, LSU fans are like, oh, I don't know. Even though that their standards are so high that a team that is like, oh, I don't know about them, really is like the third best team in the country. Like that's kind of fun. Like it's kind of fun to be a fan base like that, where it's like you got a team where I don't know if they're really like this team or this team or this team or this team, but they would be the greatest team of all time in so many different programs.
Oh, I think another thing with college baseball is we view college baseball through the draft lens. So one of their best players is Stephen Milam, who is one of their best clutch hitters, but he's not a guy that you're going to go like, he might be
a first-round pick.
Could he be Ryan Theriot in the majors?
Yeah.
Like I think that's how we view college baseball for us casuals.
Oh, big
and
time.
And the LSU team doesn't have like just banger after banger after banger. They're just a really, really good team. I hope we go 3. I think it's a great championship series. And this is what will also happen. It's going to tick off the head coach at Coastal Carolina.
Oh, because we're just going to be talking about LSU the
People
entire
talking
time.
about LSU.
And we're going to wait till someone asks him if he feels like David or Goliath.
He's
cool.
He's
cool. I like him.
I think if he's not your head coach, he's a douche canoer.
Oh, but I like,
because he is so for Coastal Carolina, and he will protect the brand, and he'll remind you. And ball knowers don't need to be reminded. Coastal Carolina is a roster that is put together really well. It's got some big-time pitching. They might be in a mid-major conference. They're not a mid-major program. And I'm glad that he keeps reminding people, because he's getting a little perturbed. He's like on edge of people. You better put some respect on our name. We won 26 in a row. They haven't lost in 8 weeks. Okay, the last time they lost was April 22nd. You don't get this far into the season winning 26 in a row by a fluke, even though you might have a guy named Fluky as one of your pitchers. Okay, so we are going to get a great championship series, but I'm glad that we have a couple of days to digest what happened last night, because people in the baseball world and just in the sports world that tuned in as that game got crazier and crazier from the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and of course the 9th, we need a couple of days to digest that. We could not go right back into a game today. We could not have a 1 o'clock Louisville, Oregon State game and go, okay, everything's fine.
Isn't that crazy though, that that's how life is, where we couldn't have a game after what happened last night because of just how like heartbreaking and negative it was, but we were totally okay to have a game after a 19 strikeout no-hitter. You know, it's just the tough stuff and the heartbreaking stuff and the negative stuff is really the things that like get you, oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
Look at Arkansas's trip to the College World Series this year. They have one bad inning against LSU.
Yes.
They lose. Then
they had 2 bad innings the entire CWS. They had 2 bad innings. The second inning in the game 1.
Before last night, before that game started, they had shut out their opponent in 24 of the 27 innings that had been played. But they come to the College World Series. They have a bad inning against LSU, cost them on Saturday night. Then they have a pitcher who shoves and makes history with 19 strikeouts and a no-hitter. Then they win kind of a nondescript game, and then they have last night. That's your trip to the College World Series in 2025. I would just take the weekend off if I was an Arkansas fan.
Well, here's
they need to get over this with the John Daly plan.
Lemonade and an Arnold Palmer and vodka.
Whatever John Daly does to get over a bad round.
Hey,
that's what Arkansas fans are going to need the whole weekend.
I think they were on the John Daly plan before they even walked into the building. If I'm being honest with you, I was seeing them out there. They were having a good time. But I always love a good narrative. Last time Coastal Carolina won a college baseball national championship, it was 2016. It was against Arizona. Jay Johnson, head coach of Arizona. Now, Jay Johnson, head coach of LSU, takes on Coastal Carolina.
And it was in his first year at Arizona, first year head coach at Coastal Carolina.
Quite the interesting matchup. And it'll be quite the interesting College World Series to end it because, like you said, we have some banger of pitching matchups. And I just can't. I'm looking at it right now, by the way, 29. So up until LSU scored 2 runs in the 6th inning, they had gone 29 innings out of 31 in the College World Series without giving up a run. They had 2 bad innings.
Yep.
And they end up losing.
That's baseball. That's baseball for you.
That's life. That's what all the people say.
No. Save that
You're
for...
riding high in the 9th.
I don't know if you've looked at the studio. This is not Baseball Village.
And then you don't turn the double play. But I wake up in Baum Walker 2.
So you asked me what a kidney stone was like.
And I know that I won't be going to the zoo.
This is the infection.
Oh, that's life. Don't go anywhere. We got a good show. You're listening to Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, No.
Hey, Gary Matt is brought to you by AGR Roofing and Construction. AGR Roofing and Construction, local quality service. AGR Roofing and Construction.com.
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox.
I was about to do that. I was about to do that. I'm supposed to be you today,
okay.
and you're supposed to be me.
Okay, go ahead.
Why? I was going to start with the tweet. Now I feel like I have to start with John.
You made him sad.
Yeah,
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally.
Well done.
Will the Rocco's Jello Shot record get shook by Tigers fans again? Will Coastal Carolina coach Kevin Schnall blow a gasket if the Chuck starts chanting Shanto clears? Will Teen Boys let Livy be? Over under Tiger Mike statue makes it to Henry Dorley. A couple of things here. Will Rocco's Jello Shot record get shook by Tigers fans again?
No.
While I was away with the from the Four Musketeers gallivanting Omaha, I did scot my way into.
Oh, they're not even close.
Rocco's Jello Shot.
Yeah, it's nothing
area.
like it was.
Yeah,
it was popping in there.
Yeah, but
I'm sure it is.
I believe they're 40,000 behind.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, didn't you say
you can't recreate what they did 2 years
ago? Massive like a massive donation last time that they were just getting, like people were just buying massive amounts of shots.
Yeah, you know what?
Maybe it'll happen if
y'all suck out there that are not LSU fans doing shots.
I did my part.
Who'd you do for?
UCLA.
Of course he did.
So you were one of the 1,486?
Exactly. I wanted to be rare. I wanted to be in the rarity of people.
No, this was the email from John. Matt cannot sing like that and say, don't go anywhere. We got a great show. Good Lord.
I thought
that crossed my mind too when he did that. I was like, we got a great show. Do we though? Do we have a great show?
I got the 9 in ninth inning in there. Man, I'm like, my voice is shot right now. I am like,
sounds normal.
No, my throat is very sore.
It sounds like a glimpse into your future in about 15 years.
Lower, you know how like they do the whole steps. You can count how many steps you take in a day, and like you can look on your phone.
Watches do
It'd
that.
be crazy. Yeah. I would love to know like how many words I've been saying a day over the last
taking the
7
over.
days.
That's the easiest money.
Like how many thousands of words that have just come out of my mouth. I mean, we're close. We are close to a very high number.
You said a number?
I feel like I'm at like 40,000.
By the way, this would be a good opportunity to tell people beginning at 3:00 on Saturday, come visit us because this show will be at Omaha Baseball Village.
Yes, we will. Who's going to take the role of talking to all the people?
No, you're going to be in the current role that you are. I will be the social director.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just along for the ride this week.
I am too, in a way, if I'm being honest with you, because the last 2 days we've barely done shows.
You are the ride.
If I'm being honest with you. So 2 days ago, we did one 20-minute show before the second game and one 20-minute show before the third game. And yesterday we did a 2.5-hour show. But then after that, we had a 30-minute show. And like, I've just been having a great time. I've just been paid to just kind of hang out in the beer garden. Like, and just go to the OBV and like,
they don't say that last part.
Well, I haven't been drinking like beer the entire time. You know, there's been a couple seltzers.
Line some coke off strippers' asses.
Whoa, no, I have not been to the Spearmint Rhino yet.
This is another email.
Yet.
You got plans?
No.
It's right next to the Media Hotel.
Yeah. Was that strategic?
No, I think it's because of financial things.
Is it not
they gave him a good deal.
The media industry is taking a hit, so they're not putting them up at the Hilton.
They're actually going to put them in the Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah.
Okay, here are a couple of pillows, guys.
This is from Bill. He said he heard my earlier comment about sporting events in Omaha. He goes, "You're telling me that last night does not move to number one?" No. So last night, and I did a quick little thing of the best sporting events in Omaha that I have witnessed since and I got about a little over 10 years of a window that I've witnessed that did not include Creighton or Omaha or anything like high school. My number one, and you're not going to be able to knock this off. Oh. Last night is in my top 5. The number one sporting event that has happened in Omaha, in my opinion, in the last decade was the Elite Eight between Duke and KU. That game had 18 lead changes. They had 11 ties, and all of a sudden Malik Newman scored 13 points in overtime. And KU beat Duke to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
So that will, if you were there or you watched on TV, it was for 45 minutes of basketball at the Chai. Or was it? No, I think it might have been the CenturyLink still.
Oh, really?
Back in 18. It was incredible theater. Last night is in my top 5. So I don't know
where.
I don't know what would knock off that Elite Eight game in 18 between Duke and KU.
Would it just take a better Elite Eight game?
It might. I wish we would get. I wish we'd get Sweet 16 back here again.
I don't get.
We cannot let Lincoln get a first and second round. I know that they still got a couple of things they have to
check off the list.
So that
give them that and give Omaha regional. Omaha gets the bigger round.
I don't know. I think it might be tough around here if Lincoln gets a first and second round and we don't. Now we will because we're Omaha and you're Lincoln.
Yeah.
Except when it comes for football Saturdays and the team that plays in that building, then we're all of
them.
We're all Nebraska.
We're all Lincoln.
But I know that they're trying really hard. They still got a couple of things they either got to build so that they meet all the qualifications.
Yeah.
Might be a little tough around here if they're hosting first and second round.
I mean, I think at first it probably would be like, damn, like why did they get it and we didn't get it? But then at the same time, you would say, okay, we're only 45 minutes to an hour away from
we're Omaha. You live in Omaha.
No, that's a different city.
Well, look.
Don't we fight over concerts?
Omaha.
Like who gets better concerts?
First
Lincoln
off,
or Omaha?
First off, let me just make this very clear.
You're a Lincoln guy.
I like
and
Omaha.
That's the takeaway from this segment.
I like Omaha better than Lincoln. Okay, Omaha has better food.
Yeah, you're gonna go on KLA later today, and you're gonna say the opposite.
No, I'm not because I went to college in Lincoln, and I did have an opportunity to be back there, and I was like, man, like it's fine. I love living here. I do. When I came here the first time, like the good concerts, the Luke Combs concert was here. You have to come here. Like the concerts are better here. The food is better here. Okay. There's more, it's more spread out, in the way in terms of like pockets of like places.
Better radio stations are in Omaha, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. As well. Like it just is. So it's
in this company, better stations in Omaha and Lincoln, right?
Yes. Oh, no. I thought you were going to say Omaha. I thought you say Omaha better than Lincoln. Yes, Omaha better than Lincoln.
Omaha's better than Lincoln.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At the same time, though.
In the NRG family, Omaha's better than Lincoln.
We already know that. And it's just like, all right, cool. Good for them. They got a little first and second round. We have all the things here. We have all the good eating spots. We have all the good concerts. We have the College World Series. We have the zoo, right? A lot of the things could do in Nebraska.
Now,
you got to travel from Lincoln to Omaha to do them. Lincoln's a fine city.
The children's zoo in Lincoln isn't bad.
I've heard it's nice. I need to go to that.
It's not bad.
I drove at the zoo.
I drove
at the zoo.
Yes, I've been to both. The one Thursday night. What is the tagline for the Henry Dorley's Zoo? Thursday Night Lights or something?
Okay.
Or Zoo After Dark, something like that. But what they do, Henry Dorley, is really, really cool. I spent a day driving the train.
Oh, that's right.
At the children's zoo in Lincoln.
The whole
back
day?
in the day. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I asked, and John Chapo?
Yes, it is John Chapo.
Was the director of the zoo.
Oh my God, John Chapo was the best interview.
He goes, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to drive the train for a whole show or a whole day." And so I drove the train.
In the middle of the summer, I was working in the newsroom trying to get stories, and it was always tough to really, like, you were scraping stories from the bottom of the barrel to go over the radio, and Brews at the Zoo was like the saving grace. Like for us, like every 2 weeks in terms of getting like stuff out there. And I had the honor of like calling John Chapo and talking about it. And him and I became friends. And he is like the best interviewer.
He retired now?
He's done. Yeah.
Yeah. He did a great job with that.
He would come on and he'd be like, "Oh, Matt, we got so many great things going on. We got the koalas out and the red pandas out."
Why was he talking so loud?
That's how we talked.
Yelled at you.
That's how we did it. We had to like his volume on our board would be at like the lowest, and he was still like peaking on the bars, like on audition. It was incredible.
Jake says Lincoln greater than Omaha,
No,
and Nebraska City is greater than Lincoln. Nobody makes a sandwich like Nebraska City Burger King.
Ooh, what? I'm listening.
Iowa JD says, "Wait, Gary, are you saying the Omaha Nighthawks comeback against the Hartford Colonials is not number one?" Now, I bet if you put this list together, this would be a really good list. Like, The best sporting events in Lincoln the best sporting
what you
events
did.
in Omaha
I didn't do anything.
that did not involve Creighton or Omaha or high school. Because I bet the opening night of the Nighthawks at Rosenblatt would be in some people's top 10.
Would the Major League Baseball game that took place here a couple years ago be in there?
I bet that would be a top 10. To me, it's not top 5, but it is top 10.
I think the swim trials have to definitely be up there.
There was some Michael Phelps
and
moments.
Katie Ledecky.
And to see Bob Costas.
That would be a
big deal.
Very interesting.
He was smaller. The first time I saw him in person, very, very small. He had no desire to Bob Costas.
Oh,
he had no desire back then when because then he was hosting on NBC to really interact with us people.
Too small of a market.
Was
you
he
have to be above a certain DMA?
Is what you're saying?
He's a fast walker.
I'm surprised Omaha doesn't get
more
of those kind of out of like those novelty events, considering the fact of how good the CWS is presented.
We do.
How good it's set up.
I had a bicycle race in my neighborhood a month ago, which was really, really cool. Yeah. I hope they bring that back.
Boxcar derby.
You enjoy not being able to park or pull out of your
now
driveway?
I don't. Well, it was just for a day.
Okay.
And
you plan ahead.
It didn't impact me because I could get out. There were ways to get out, but I thought that was a really cool event. That we have events like that. Sometimes they're promoted well. Like the swim trials, I don't think will ever come back here just because once they went to Indianapolis and they got in the dome and there's more space and there's more ability to sell tickets, I think that kind of ended our time in Omaha. I've always been thinking of what is the next big thing for Omaha to get. What is
our NHL team seems to be
not a team, but an event. What is the next event that is out there for this city to get that we have not gotten or have not had here in a long time?
Okay. And
I would be thinking championships, wrestling championship. Yeah. So, I don't think we're going to get Frozen Four because I was going to say that because they've taken out the pipes for hockey downtown.
That's what I was going to. I don't know if
that would have been a good one.
The Frozen Four. I'm not aware if that's set in one spot and that ain't going anywhere in that spot.
No,
that would be the next one that I would think is Frozen Four. Maybe another Elite Eight, but wrestling championships would be pretty cool.
We just don't have enough space.
I don't think the softball World Series
it's not leaving.
Leaving Oklahoma City.
You have a better chance of getting the Thunder here than you do.
Maybe the Savannah Bananas.
I think that'd be great. I think it'd be great for Omaha if they were able to get the Savannah Bananas and put them in that park.
That will be a fight between Lincoln and Omaha, maybe.
I think Omaha needs to say, "Hey, we'll do a 2-day event. We'll do it on back-to-back nights or something like that." Because the capacity, right, in terms of Memorial Stadium versus Omaha, right, versus the Chuck. The disparity is massive.
Oh yeah, you could do two. You could do 2 nights in Lincoln and draw 160,000 people.
You could do a whole week in Omaha, maybe. You could do 4 nights in a row with the Savannah Bananas. Every time I see those pictures on Twitter, I'm taken aback by how popular they are and how many
why
I've seen.
Shouldn't be anything new.
No, it's not. But it's just everywhere. It's just everywhere they go. It doesn't matter what city.
They're very popular.
So hard to get.
Kids love them.
And then I've seen more Savannah Bananas gear than I saw UCLA Bruins gear this week.
That's not a surprise.
And the Savannah Bananas probably had more jello shots than the UCLA team.
Mm-hmm.
Email. The promotion for the Big Ten Conference Baseball Tournament is so over the top, it's almost unbearable.
What?
That's the truth.
The hashtag sarcasm.
Nonstop.
I literally couldn't drive anywhere without seeing it on a billboard. It was obnoxious.
1620, the big.
Is Indianapolis Omaha's rival in terms of is Indianapolis becoming a city rival to Omaha?
We are the AAA Indianapolis.
There are kind of the two
Indianapolis.
Midwest
Indianapolis does events well. Omaha does events exceptionally well. Indianapolis is larger with professional sports and the ability to host a Final Four.
And they got that beautiful Lucas Oil Stadium. That stadium is so good for.
We don't have that
stuff. It is. It's just funny to me that it's Indianapolis has those types of event in the Midwest, and it's Omaha that has those types of event in the Midwest. It's a little random.
There's a little more competition. Des Moines is trying to weasel their way into our NCAA basketball tournaments.
Well, good luck. Keep weaseling.
They have had.
Yeah.
I've every time they've had them twice over Well, now it's called.
I forget what it's called.
Well, so it's been the Wells Fargo
That's what
Arena
I
in
still
downtown
think
Des
of it
Moines.
as.
Now it's Casey's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you know what? They have a Casey's inside of the arena.
Oh my
That's like the
God.
Quick Trip in the Sprint Center back
Can
in
you
the
walk
day.
out of there with like a
Pizza?
Monster Energy drink
So-
and gummy worms?
Yeah, so they have. You
That
can
is-
get the Casey's
yeah.
pizza. They have a Casey's
That's awesome.
because they just rebranded it. They bought the naming rights.
Very nice.
That you're
The
supposed to.
Casey's
You're
Center.
supposed to be able to like. There'll be a fully operational Casey's inside of Casey's Arena in Des Moines.
Can you imagine if you can fill up your gas tank in the parking lot?
That'd
actually be
I would
awesome.
settle
It
for the
would-
pizza, but
it would be a wise marketing move if Casey's could do that. But I think
Yeah.
they probably want to.
it might
keep
be a
it to themselves.
liability issue.
Game 6 of the NBA Finals
That's still going on?
is tonight. And does anybody care about it?
Nope.
We're going to find out. We'll have a discussion about that coming up next on Gary and Matt.
All right, here in the last couple of years, our area has been hit hard by storms. And if your area has been impacted by storms, and more importantly, your home, whether it be a couple of years ago or recently, you need some work done. That roof, the siding, the gutters. And you're thinking, okay, where am I going to look? There are so many different options out there in Omaha. Well, actually, there's only one option, and that is the MVPs of roofing, Moose Roofing. Great reviews. They come word of mouth. All they have to do is show you what they've done. Over 30,000 roofs from Western Iowa all the way to Lincoln has had the impact of Moose Roofing. Guys like Sean, they'll help you navigate your roofing options. They'll even install extra ventilation so that they help you mitigate the risk of moisture. That's what they do. They know their business in and out. They start from initial consultation. They get to sit down and get to know you really, really well. Then they go to work and they show you what the issues are. And then they put a plan together. And then when the plan moves forward, they even have an entire department at Moose Roofing that'll work with your insurance company. So that is one less hassle that you have. And then they go to work, they get it done, and you are a satisfied customer because you are number one. The MVPs of roofing, they know what your most valuable asset is, and they're going to take care of you. See how they can take care of you. Commercial roofing, residential roofing, roof repair, siding, gutters. Moose Roofing, online at mooseroofing.com.
Can I pet horses?
You can pet anything you want to.
Like in studio or?
No, like when they're on the cop. Like I can't touch that horse, right? It's kind of like the gun. You can't pull the gun. You can't touch a cop's
You can
gun.
pet the horse. You can't pet the cop.
You can't pet the horse, right? Not that I would.
Let's
I'm
go
just
back
making
to the first part to help you out
He
here.
wants to pet a horse.
Don't ever try and touch
No.
what's on their hip.
No,
So there you go. So
Ever.
once you know that.
Ever. No. I know.
I think if you are a younger person and your parents say, "Oh, beautiful horse, can I pet it?" That'd be the way to approach it.
Sure.
I think you petting it, they would think you're drunk.
But what if he asks the same way? Beautiful
what
horse,
if I go,
mind if I pet
Hi,
it?
Mr. Policeman.
You'd be drunk and you'd be arrested.
I was standing next
And tell him you're Mormon so they know you don't drink.
I love horses. Okay.
Shout out horses.
You like horses that have a jockey on them.
No.
Yeah.
You don't like a beautiful
Yes,
horse.
I do.
You like horses that win
love
you
the
money.
beauty of a horse. I think they're incredible animals.
Look at him cross the
Yes.
finish
Literally.
line.
Yes.
Their majesty.
If they're able to run a mile and a half.
Look how pretty they are. Well, it's a mile and a quarter. And like, just the power, right? What do we say? Horse power, right? It's a powerful yet graceful animal. I love them. So I was standing, and I was drunk, on the curb.
What do you say?
I
He
was
was drunk.
standing, and
You were drunk?
He was drunk.
and I was just,
Which we knew before the
Is
story
this a,
started.
Is this a 2025 CWS story?
This last
yeah,
time?
I was off the clock.
Okay,
I
that's
was
fine.
very much off the clock. And I was just standing next to the horses, and I was supposed to walk, and I didn't really want to walk because I just wanted to be over. I just wanted to keep looking at the horses, and then I thought,
Your conversation.
can I pet them? But I didn't want to. I didn't want to go up to the police officer and pet him. But I was just asking if it was like a known thing that you for sure can't pet these horses.
I'll tell you where you need to go. So the OPD
The Rhino?
horse barn
Hmm.
is south of downtown Omaha. It's right along the river.
Okay.
I'm sure you could go there.
Yeah.
And you can pet all the horses you want. I don't know that they want their horses petted while they're on them and they're directing traffic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You can't go to their job and pet them.
Two things.
It's just like here.
Two things I want to do is ride a horse and be a wrestling manager, and one of those things might happen.
You're going to wrestle manage a horse?
No, but I might. We're in talks right now. We're in conversations
To
right now.
ride a horse?
No, to be a wrestling manager for a show.
So you're leaving? You just got here.
No,
Come on.
no. I'm not going to travel the world or
Is that my guy Brian?
Yeah.
He's gonna hook you up.
He's giving me some dates.
He is the real Brian Blade.
He there was one date where he gave me, and it's not going to work out, but there's another date. Let me tell you what, man. I might be a wrestling manager, man. How about that? How about a great rest of the show coming up here on 1620 The Zone?
Been a good week at the College World Series. People popping in and out, saying hi to us. If you come and you've said hi to us at the Omaha Baseball Village, thank you for coming to say hi to us. We've seen plenty of people in the YouTube chat that have come by and said hi. We love seeing those people. We love just hanging out with the randos who are just like, what is this?
Shout
what
out
are you
randos.
doing? Is this a radio station?
You guys do not know what you're ready for on Saturday.
I think I am ready for it just because I have been it. I've taken your
You're AAA.
your wing.
You're AAA. You're about to get an induction to the majors.
Wow.
Okay?
He just said he's replaced you.
Welcome to the show.
welcome
All
to
right.
the effort show.
Let me read this email off of what happened last night, which people are still trying to comprehend in a game that had it all. That ended up with LSU walking it off when Arkansas had 3 different times to end that game. Because this is part of the scenario of last night.
Mm-hmm.
Warner Park Bryan says in the Equitable Bank inbox, Kozel should have caught the last ball.
He had a shot. It definitely is not on the level of not turning the double play or the fly ball to left field. But if you played it correctly, or not correctly, if you played it damn near perfectly, he could have had it. I think he jumped a little bit too early, and he was coming down and hit off the glove. Is that he should have routine had it? No.
So,
but he could have.
First of all, I think it was funny yesterday. So his dad. So people have gotten to hear about Cam's story, and it's a really, really cool story. And I'm also understanding that a lot of people don't know that get confused and they think there's 3 Millards. So they've heard Southwest reference as high school. We have Millard North, Millard West. Some guy asked me a couple of days ago, are there 3 different Millards? And I said, well, there's 3 different high schools. And he goes, well, what is Millard? And I said, sit down and let me tell you about Millard. There is old Millard, there is current Millard, and there is really, really new Millard. I did not say that. I said, no, it's just a suburb that's not very far from here, which is all 3 high schools have in baseball, have a pretty lengthy list of alums. And he's like, well, I'm kind of confused. And I said, no, I go, it's a nice area. There's a lot to do. I go, it's kind of an older suburb, and then Omaha kept growing.
Yeah.
And so he goes, okay. And he wanted some information because he was sharing it on a broadcast.
Oh, this was an announcer. Okay.
Yeah, he was asking about Millard South. And I said, shout out Greg Gary, the great baseball coach and one of the best high school players ever in the state of Nebraska. So people have gotten to know Cam's story, and his mom, Rachel, which she had had it, and it goes with the territory, like all the cameras that were in her face.
Yeah, they were really
so
her.
Dad continued to work on the Warner Park grounds crew even when Arkansas was playing. So last night he's working, but yesterday I said to him because I saw Matt coming, and we'd spoken a couple of times during the CWS. And I said to him, hey, I still think Cam should have played quarterback. And I go, that was a really good Millard South team his senior year that had some injuries, and then Cam went and played for the U.S. team, so he missed a little stretch of the season. He goes, oh, so he could have been the size of the Vanderbilt quarterback?
Oh!
And I was like, yeah, Matt Kozel. So that play last night and everything you just said and kind of what Van Horn mouthed is Cam jumped too soon. And that's just natural instinct is you're going to jump for the baseball. But I got a scenario for you, boys. You ready?
Okay.
So he jumps. The ball deflects off his glove. It slows down. I don't have a problem with him jumping, trying to make the catch because that's a natural thing to do. But if he doesn't touch the ball, LSU doesn't score because the center fielder is charging and it's too shallow. And I believe, because you got to remember who's running from second base, I believe they hold him up. Because then the ball gets to the outfield a little bit quicker because that ball was hit pretty hard.
And you're on it, and you're going with momentum.
And Thomas is charging.
Yeah.
So I think they throw up the stop sign. And if they don't, I think Arkansas would have had a chance to throw him out at the plate.
It's one of those things, though, where it's like, you're right. I think you're right. Because he still was able to get the ball to the plate. Like, it wasn't competitive, but he was still able to get it there and still make that throw, right? He didn't do the surrender cobra when he got to the ball. I just don't know how if you're Cam Colesville, you don't jump.
Yeah, no.
You
That's
know?
I don't have any.
It's just
It's a natural thing to do. A line drive like that to climb the ladder and try and make the catch. You're not gonna like, oh, it's gonna go a little bit over my head. I'm not going to jump.
Isn't it kind of funny though, in a way that maybe it's a good thing for that team that there were multiple mistakes made and that there were multiple guys.
No.
Hold
on here.
Hear me out. Let me get my piece.
All right.
Okay.
Where is this going?
Because obviously you want to win the game. Okay. Obviously. And obviously you want to make the plays. Right. But I do think, let's just say it was one play. It was just one play from one guy who made one mistake that like absolutely lost that game. Right.
I think I see where you're going.
The shoulders of that failure are strictly on that guy. And it's just like, and everybody goes to him and they're good teammates and they're a good team. And they're like, hey, don't worry about it. But you all kind of know, hey, if he makes that play, we probably win this game. But the fact that there was a mistake from their best player at shortstop and a mistake from their left fielder, and then you think it's a mistake that they didn't walk Johnson, and then Jones, sorry. And then Colesville can say, well, I shouldn't have jumped, or I should have caught that ball. Like,
now, he's not saying I shouldn't jump. Don't put that out there.
No. But like, I should have caught that ball. The fact that there are like four different people who can come together and be like, no, it's not on you, it's on me. No, it's not on you, it's on me. That you can all take the blame together, as opposed to like,
I don't know that makes it any better.
I
don't think it makes it any better.
I know.
It's the thing about baseball, though. Baseball is a sport that there is more failure than there is success.
Yes,
and it's one of the great team sports because one guy in your lineup might go 5 for 5, and the other guy goes 0 for 5, and you still win a game. Okay, so you embrace everybody.
Yeah.
And you saw, like when Alisea the other day for Louisville booted the ball, did the old Olay, and they have to go to the bottom of the ninth against Oregon State, and he scores the game-winning run. It's such a great sport of redemption as well. Look at Jones last night.
Yeah.
Dropped the ball, scored 2 runs, and then he comes back and he hits a home run. And then he gets a game-winning hit to finish the game. I think, well, okay, you using a little bit about what you're saying. Did guys go to console the left fielder or the shortstop last night?
The left fielder.
Yeah. I think the biggest play is the play at shortstop. The play at shortstop is going to haunt Arkansas forever because there can be a little bit of an explanation on why, but there is nothing that says in your past history or your talent set, or your skill set, why you did not attempt to turn the double play, which would have ended the game when I would say probably 99 out of 100, 99.6% of the ground balls that you've taken in that scenario, you go to turn the double play. That's the one in left field again. I can explain a little bit.
Yeah.
The play at second base, I can explain. I can't. The other one that I'm hanging on, and you know this because we've been doing the show now for over 2 hours, is why don't you walk Jones?
Yeah.
But the play at shortstop, I can't give you the why.
You can't give him an out. There's no out there, right? Like the out, like, and not that there's necessarily maybe out is a lack of a better term, right? But like he slipped. Okay. That's a tough break. Colesville jumping up, like, that's not an easy play. That's a hard hit ball. That's not a situation you're always put in as a second baseman. You're always put in that position as a shortstop. You're like, I don't know what the thought process is though, because the guy wasn't, it wasn't like it was a weirdly hit ball or he was charging the ball or like, it's never a play you make. It's not even the fact that like, oh, we couldn't turn the double play or not. It's just like, you naturally just go to second base. You just try for it. You just give it the attempt. Right. And like, also too, there is the thought process of, all right, we're going to try and get the double play. Cause if we go to second and we don't get the guy out at first, then we can there's another double play opportunity. Now we have another force at second base. Like that's just it's not a baseball play you ever really make in that situation.
Yep. It's, he has done a lot this year, and he's going to get drafted high next month, and he's the SEC Player of the Year. That play will be what he is remembered for forever.
When in baseball, and you would know better.
And by the way,
than
he
I-
actually came up with a couple of key hits.
Yeah.
He hadn't had a great series, was better last night at the plate.
So, would you ever be taught that? Hey, 1 out, guy on first and second. If you pick up this type of ground ball, you would throw over to third. Like, I don't even know how.
The
you
only
go
thing
through
I
that
think
process.
of is he thought it was too long of a throw from deep at short to throw to second, that he went with the easy route to go to third. I think the timing of the runner in front of him also got in his head of, okay, there's a little bit of an instinct. Let's get the lead runner. Instead of, and he may have also, in the moment, forgot about how many outs where there were.
So
if you turn two, then boom, I wonder if he thought there were nobody out.
I think I was about
Okay,
to say.
you get the lead runner,
Yeah.
and that's the first out.
Yeah.
Instead of there's already 1 out, and
bang.
turning the double play, and we're going to turn it, and the game is over.
We want to make sure that we just keep everything in order because we just got to get this first out. That's the only other thing that I could think of in terms of like not trying to risk, because if there's no outs, I could see why you're like, hey, maybe we don't try
No outs,
forcing an error.
no
or
outs
anything like
in
that.
a 2-run ball game. That's the right play.
Yeah.
You get the lead runner. It's it's going to be play at third. It's an easier throw for you.
You reset
Yeah.
the play with 1 out, right? It's the
Yeah.
same situation. Now you have an additional out. When you have 1 out, though, you go for it. You go to win the game.
I can't explain it.
You
And
win the
he
game.
didn't, and I don't know if there'll come a point where he will explain it because I did not talk to them. Well, I don't know if he talked to the media because the clubhouse is open. NCAA championship events, the locker rooms and the clubhouses are open. I have not seen anybody that has a quote from him. He didn't show up for the post-game media, which again, you know what? If you're not going to show up, let somebody else go up there. Don't leave an empty spot. That's a bad look.
It's one of those things too, though, where it's been incredible how you can tell that this stage and that stadium and the amount of fans and the pressure of that moment has got into not just like Arkansas, but multiple teams and multiple players throughout the tournament. And I think what's so unique is you can't really replicate what the College World Series is during the regular season.
No.
And it's not one of those things either where, if you're an old team in basketball, in NCAA basketball, right, and you guys been good for a while, you've been to maybe 2 or 3 NCAA tournaments, right? You understand the process. You know what you have to go through. That's not the case at CWS, right? Like it's pretty rare to go to multiple in your career, right? You in a lot of cases, unless you're at a top program like LSU or Arkansas, which most guys aren't, you're not consistently going to Omaha. You're not consistently on that stage. You're not experiencing that. So there's no way to once you get there, you're there. And it was funny. Kevin Schnall said it yesterday on our interview. He was like, I think we're done with being in awe. We're done with being in awe with Omaha. We're done with being in awe on the field. And I think you saw it from them yesterday. I think that's a good approach. To me, though, in a way, it's like it's hard not to always be in awe if you're playing there and you're playing for a national championship and you're playing the best teams in front of the biggest crowds you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think there's a difference though. Like if you're Murray State to LSU,
Oh, big time. Yeah, for sure.
Like Murray State
They were
got
there
caught
for-
up in it the first game where guys were looking around and people are cheering for them that don't normally cheer for them.
Yeah, and people are wearing their stuff.
Like I think playing in the SEC prepares you for high leverage situations and high leverage moments. Nothing prepares you for like the surroundings
Yeah.
of playing in a stadium that big, or it's packed and all the different little idiosyncrasies that come with a pop-up or whatever. Sergeant Holka's Big Toe tweets at the show. He goes, I don't think any play will ever outweigh the dropped foul ball for the natty. It's like DVH traded Babe Ruth. Baseball curses are real.
That one is. Would you say, because you were at the 2018 game, I take it,
Mhm.
this was the bigger collapse, but that was the worst singular moment?
I think nothing will touch 18.
Yeah.
18 was the national championship. You were a drop pop fly from a national championship. You catch that, you win the national championship. Essentially.
That is it's just crazy to me to have multiple moments like that for one school where it's just you think you have the team, you're on the precipice of winning, you have, all the resources and one of the best coaches in the game, and in two separate
It's
instances,
a great thing about baseball,
not
man.
separated by that many years.
It is the great thing about baseball is that there is nothing given, and Dave kind of said that last night. Is you see everything in baseball. The pop up is the one that would haunt me forever, because that was your you were going to win the national championship. It was the title winning pop up. We had Jeff Hendricks, umpire Jeff Hendricks on, who was working the plate that night. He was on right before the series, and what did he say? He said, "Congrats to the catcher." Like when the ball went up, he said, "Congrats to the catcher." He had three guys converging on it in the triangle of Arkansas along the right field line in foul territory. That was the national championship. That one I could never replace. Last night was just an extra layer on. You had a chance to close out the game 3 different times and you didn't.
It's also too like their routine. It's kind of routine plays. That double play is a routine play. That fly ball, that's the catcher's ball. You let him. He takes off the mask. He runs. He goes. He catches it. Boom, over. Right. Like
for what one?
For 2018. Like that. That's the catcher.
No, it was down the right field line.
Oh, okay.
So you had the right fielder, the second baseman.
Still routine plays that are costing you your ability and your opportunities to win. It's just, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard not to pull at the heartstrings unless you're an LSU fan. You don't give a damn. You're like, we're not going to apologize for winning. We're going to play Coastal Carolina, but I don't think they know. The Shants are playing at the championship.
Pat chimes in a comparison to last night. What about Nebraska in December in Louisville being up 22-16 in the 4th set against Penn State with a chance to close it out and go to the final?
See, but I think that's a little different because I don't know, and I'm thinking back to that game. I don't remember there being was there a massive, massive mistake made by Nebraska other than just Penn State?
Stop tipping the ball.
Well, yeah. I mean that, but there wasn't
they had two didn't they have 2 match points?
Yeah. But I think this is a whole other layer to it because I wouldn't say there were clear routine plays that we've seen Nebraska volleyball make over and over and over again. It was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Right? It's not like a ball just went through an easy ball went through the hands of Lexi Rodriguez or Merritt Beeson hit a ball, it ricocheted off her hand and it went into the stands off to the side. There wasn't an egregious.
But I can see where Pat's coming here because Nebraska was the favorite.
Yeah,
Arkansas was the favorite.
There is choking and having another team gaining that momentum, and then there is a complete and total collapse.
Well, that's what happened in that they both.
But I would say that the fact that there were routine plays that were just clearly missed by Arkansas that you've seen them make over and over again, and that's what caused them to lose.
I don't know. This is an interesting conversation because, first of all, that collapse in Louisville really got overshadowed.
It really
because it just we kind
of swept it on the rug,
and it shouldn't have been because of the stakes of Nebraska. Now, maybe when Penn State goes on to win the national title, you're like, okay. But that was a massive collapse for Nebraska volleyball. You're up 22-16.
Yeah.
You're not up 22-20. You're up 22-16.
And you've been dominating the match up to that point.
I'm vibing with the comparison.
I think they're both complete collapses, and it just both ended absolutely terribly. But at the same time, Arkansas didn't have an opportunity to regroup and come back and win their game, right? Those games, they made those mistakes and then the game was over. The game was done. Nebraska still had multiple sets to come back together and say, hey, we're locked in here.
What would be the equivalent of being up 22-16 in volleyball and baseball? Up 7-2?
I would say you're up 7-2 in the 6th inning. You still have
7-2 in the 8th.
Oh, But didn't they had a fourth set remaining and a fifth set?
No, this was the fourth set.
Okay, it was fourth set.
They were 22-16 in the fourth set.
Then it was 8. Yeah, then it'd be 8th inning. I don't know. It's just the routine plays. It's just the fact that it's just these guys have done it before over and over again. They've practiced it over and over again. The rules of baseball in terms of like, hey, in this situation, you throw to second. You've been taught that almost your entire life. And on that stage, with the stakes that were there, you make that mistake. I think that's why it puts it over the top for me over that. But it is a really good comparison because, man, like Nebraska was dominating. They had it. It was their match. And then I think some people, for them, maybe it made it a little bit better that Penn State won the national championship because you're like, all right, hey, at least we lost the national champion. To me, it made it worse because then it's like, man, you were really just like 3 points, not just from winning the match. You were 3 points from probably winning the national championship. Like it added another layer of like, you probably end up going and winning and finally doing it. It's just sports, just college sports. That's part of the allure of it. It's just we kind of see these mistakes be made more and we see these collapses and it's just like anything can happen. And now like we're going to remember this and it adds layers to like, games that we'll see in the future because you're like, hey, remember what happened to Arkansas? Remember what happened here? Like anything can happen. But hey, talking about anything can happen. I'm hoping that one thing happens tonight because it would be nice. It would be really fun. We haven't had one in a while. It would be very enjoyable. And it would actually
sound like you're talking about a bowel movement.
It would actually save certain aspects of a sport that despite the fact that I have been crapping on it the last couple of months, I still very much enjoy. We'll talk about it coming up next here on Gary and Matt.
No toxicity on this on these airwaves. Is this a good karaoke song for you? If someone sang this at karaoke,
it'd be pretty talented.
They'd be incredibly talented.
You should do it,
I would be
especially
like-
this part here. Exactly. Those are the words.
Look what I missed for a week.
Come on. You didn't miss it.
I just got to see the visual. I didn't get the audio.
Wait till we do arts and crafts later.
I'm just saying. I've learned a lot this weekend, or just this week in general. Just a lot of good. We did a whole Bo Pelini revisionist history. That was
Really?
yeah.
Okay. So I did hear they had it on, and then when Josh started to tell the story of the meeting at the hotel,
yeah.
I went,
Yeah.
Went,
I realized that when it comes to the Bo era, that Josh was definitely a wind-up doll. I just needed to wind him up and let him go. And it became a 15-minute segment of like re-breaking down everything that happened in the 2010 season.
That one overreaction.
And he goes ahead, and I was like, yeah, like it was because I made fun of the Pelini era in like the first show. I was like, nobody's happy and nobody's victorious when you talk about Bo Pelini, right? Like it just at the end of the day, it's either like Bo should have gone or Bo shouldn't have left, or it's like, we talk about now, like, will Nebraska ever win a national championship? But no one was ever happy, like winning 9 games with Bo. It's just a roundabout way of just suck and just sadness.
This is how I always describe the Bo era. How did they win 9 games? And in the same sentence, how do they not win more than 9 games?
Exactly.
That's the Bo Pelini era to me.
And that's like some of the worst seasons you can have in terms of like morale and like happiness, because you're either happy or you're either sad, but then you're mad if somebody is happy or you're mad if somebody else is sad. And so
metaphor
anyway,
for life.
I said that, and then
his time in Nebraska has aged pretty well.
Well, he's up there in terms of one of the most winningest coaches.
There is no other coach since Solich that his career will age. His time in Nebraska will age well. Everybody else is either you've already closed the book on, or it's going to get worse the further you go, and whatever Matt Rule does at Nebraska. Speaking of Bo,
sure.
So Joe Mowgli is in town, who is the former CEO of TD Ameritrade.
Remember that name?
Football coach at Coastal Carolina. Now he's retired. Kevin Schnall mentioned him on the show.
One of the most important people in the entire university.
I've talked to Joe numerous times. He is so gracious. Because he was on Bo's staff as kind of a, I don't know if say a liaison, but he was without being hands-on the field. He was Bo Pelini's Phil Snow, like a veteran guy.
I like that.
But it was more of the operation on the day-to-day. So I asked him the other day, you might have been with us. I said, have you talked to, do you talk to Bo very much? And he said, I haven't seen him in a while. He goes, but we text probably, a handful of times a year.
I wasn't with you, by the way.
Oh.
For this. I didn't,
we were in the elevator, and like everybody was afraid to talk to him.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't know he was behind us because I've known him for a while. And I turned around and he said, hey, and he's got, he's got an East Coast accent. And then we started talking. And so all these people are just listening. And so I know we're on like the 3rd floor, and we're going to the first floor.
What a slow
so
elevator,
I know that I have like, I got to like rapid fire. I got to ask Joe questions that I want answered. But then he was good yesterday. We interviewed him in the dugout, but he was,
how is Bo doing? Did he give you like a true update?
He just said, he goes, hey, he's doing well. Well. And I said, do you think he'll ever get back in it? And he said, no.
Really?
He just said he doesn't. He thinks he's happy with what he's doing. He's getting up there in age, and kind of left it at that.
I was in an elevator with you multiple times, and you are
just not that one.
You were a ride in an elevator, which is really funny. You're talking to all the people. You're cracking jokes with people you don't even know. You're telling the elevator lady, like, hey, we have to hurry up, as if she can control the elevator. Like, she can't push a button that makes that super slow elevator go any quicker.
so
it is a
they
it is a
transported
slog.
they transported the elevator from Rosenblatt to the Chuck. So the Rosenblatt elevator was notorious for being slow, and that's what these are. So it's not just the lady in that elevator that you got on that one with me. That is Henrietta Pike.
Oh
So Ike and Henrietta. Do you not know the story?
no.
Even I know.
Pull up a
this.
chair.
Okay,
'Cause this is a 75th anniversary of the College World Series story.
I'll just push the mic
My
away.
God.
You go ahead.
What is going on here?
What?
Should I leave the studio?
What? You said pull up a chair.
Didn't somebody make a comment about real men don't cross their legs?
I'm not crossing my legs. I'm stretching out. My back is bad. This is how I have to sit for my back.
He's 23.
Or
you know two people who sit exactly the same way? You and Sarnoff.
I was
over in
about to
Omaha.
say, okay.
So the little general, who's going to be fantastic, and
he's going to be an athletic
We're-
director one day.
yeah, he's going to be signing paychecks. So you two sit the same way. Like on a chair, you sit like you are a frog.
So
Okay, you hunch your legs up,
Which is hard to do.
Or I don't know if you noticed last night when we were all
Yeah.
sitting between games, Jordan comes up and he's sitting on a ledge and he's got crisscross applesauce. He's sitting there with his legs crossed. He's sitting on the table and I'm like, what am I at a daycare? Okay, I already got one in the morning. Now I got one at
Didn't I?
night.
Yeah.
Just the way
he
they
told me
sit.
that you drove him. You drive him places, which is so funny to
Well,
me.
because he's
Guess what,
he
Gary?
did-
Guess
he had-
what?
so
Guess
he's
what?
He's from New York City,
Yeah,
just outside of New York City in New Jersey. He doesn't drive, so
That's not
he's
uncommon.
he's not driven very much. So
Jordan
when he
doesn't
moved
have a-
when he moved to Omaha, he had to get a license and a car, and so he is very uncomfortable driving. And when he drives, he's not very good.
Oh, and he fits in this city.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing
So,
is,
but wasn't there somebody that made a comment about real men don't cross their legs? I don't know if you are stretching or not. Or if
I
that's-
am. No, this is. I literally have to do this.
I cross my legs when I sit.
Well, I had
Like
I had
now, I will
had a-
join you in fighting. Why do you always, whenever you go to sit, you always thrust your
because
pelvic
I have to,
thing at
I
me?
have to adjust
Is
my
this the
back.
crotch off?
I have to adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about the crotch boom.
Yeah, quit doing that
on the
okay?
OBV.
You got no shot with me, okay? Trust me.
No, we could crotch boom like we're the 2016 Cubs.
No, I am not crotching booming with another man. I am way
Wow.
too
we
old.
were. I was trying to explain because we were talking about the Justin Turner and his hanging nuts when he was celebrating with Seiya
Speaking of-
Suzuki.
Yeah.
And I
Daycare.
was trying to tell Josh Peterson, I go, well, funny enough, when the Cubs are good, they do that type of lower extremity, celebrations. They did the crotch boom that back in 2016 when they won the World Series. He goes, what's the crotch boom? And I go,
Did you do it with him?
I showed him what it
Are they going to
was. I showed
incorporate
him
it
the
to their
movement.
show?
And then a Cubs fan came by the desk and I go, hey, 2016 crotch boom. What does it look like? And the guy did it right in front of Josh Peterson. And I go, look, this is a thing. This isn't me making it up. This is known.
That could have been so funny
So
and awkward
anyway, I
if
had
he
a
had
drink.
no idea.
I had a drink, by the way, the Little General is such a good nickname. I had a drink with the Little General and he sat down and we were at the bar and he just straight up like crossed his legs like right in front of me. And I had to like scoot back a little bit.
He
I
is
was like,
he is one of a kind. He is awesome.
why do you think him and I get along so well? We just one up each other with our just stupid stories over and over again. And then
Okay.
eventually he pulls the New Jersey card and I'm like, all right, I'm out of ammo here.
And New York City greater than Chicago. That's what they're saying on the interwebs.
They got better stories.
Except in
over
the
there.
early 90s. Couldn't
Which,
get over Michael.
Which one is a better sanctuary city?
I'll give it to New York. I think New York. New York.
But back to the elevator.
Okay.
So you don't
Harry-
know
No,
the couple?
I don't know anything.
That is given.
That's
yes.
not good
We
for
know
the
this.
show.
I know zero.
That's not good for the show.
Weekdays, 6 to 10.
Hey,
So-
that's our promo.
So
No more Ford F-150s.
I have known Ike Payne, the founding principal at Millard North, for a long, long time. I did not go to Millard North. I did not know him when he was at Millard North. I actually jokingly told him, I only know you as somebody who the library is named after. But he is a legend, and
Okay.
I mean a legend when it comes to the community of Millard and the school system. And it's not just the high school, it's elementary school as well, middle school. But he doesn't want people to know this. And he probably is going to hate me for telling this story because it's going to get back to him. This is the 75th College World Series that Ike Payne has either attended or worked.
Oh my God.
So he came to games as a kid. He then sold popcorn and things like that. And then he has run the elevator. And people know I'm going to describe it. And people that have gone to events at the Chai or the Chuck or Baxter know who I'm talking about. It is Ike and Henrietta Payne, Silver Sluggers, who are ushers. And they are the warmest, nicest people ever. And they are in working the College World Series in the elevators. You know, people aren't always the friendliest.
Yeah.
You know, because they want to get to places, and Ike has a huge heart and he has a great personality, and his wife's a little bit quieter. So this is Ike's 75th anniversary. ESPN comes to me the other day, and because one of their coordinating producers was in the elevator on Friday,
Okay.
and he heard me and Ike going back, because I'm like, Ike, I go, is this the year where you don't start drinking until later in the week, or did you start this morning? And he laughs, and we go back and forth. And so the coordinating producer on Saturday said, hey, we're trying to do something. I said, what? And he goes, we would like to do a live hit and a story on ESPN on the Paynes. Because this is,
awesome.
Because finding somebody that has been at every World Series that's played in Omaha is not easy.
No.
And I said to him, it's going to be tough. I go, because Ike doesn't like the attention. And I go, I don't think I should ask. I think maybe you should ask. I go, but you got to get him away from when he's going up and down between the first floor and the fourth floor.
Sure.
And so he politely declined. And then I put out a tweet saying that he'd been there for 75 years, and I took his picture. And I love the Paynes. Tuesday, he said to me, he goes, hey, I don't need that. And I said, your son told you, didn't he? And he goes, do you know that and Ike doesn't like the attention on himself.
Yeah.
He goes, did you know that Henrietta once was in the Rose Garden when President Bush was the president, because she is not a Rhodes Scholar. He said something else, a highly academic award, that she went to the Rose Garden. And I said, I do know that. And Doc, because it is Dr. Ike Payne, he goes, that's for her. He goes, it's not about me. And I said, that's okay, Ike. I go, let's take another picture. So when you go back to the College World Series, Ike and Henrietta Payne, Dr. Pike has been to 75 College World Series.
So I didn't know.
So when you're in the elevator and I'm talking to everybody, and then I talk to him or his wife, so I
talked to Ike
because people don't talk to Ike.
So I did.
Yeah,
I did.
He
talk
loves
to Ike.
that.
I did not know it was Ike. Ike said something to me, started talking to me, and I started talking to him because I come from the Gary Sharp School of interacting with people. You know,
never met a stranger.
Absolutely. And so I said to him, I go, hey, it's my first World Series. You got any tips? And he goes, no, just drink a lot of water. Just keep drinking water. And I'm like, all righty, like, there we go. And I'm like, I'm just trying to stay cool. And he goes, aren't we all? And then, like, you know, he was a very, very nice man. And then I got on the elevator a couple of times, and it was awesome. I probably was on there 2 or 3 more times. And every single time he was trying to talk to more people and interact with people and stuff like that.
They're great. They get up early in the morning and they walk, and they are a great couple that you see at sporting events, and that's what I look forward to in the College World Series. But this is what you need to do to him. So
okay, next time I see Ike, what do I say?
I like to keep him on his toes whenever I get on the elevator.
You like to keep everybody on their toes.
I've got him to finally fist bump.
Okay.
But I go, man, it must be tough for you as a Millard North guy that this Millard South guy is getting all this attention.
Sure.
I go, man, they're talking so much about Millard South. They're not even talking about Millard North.
They don't even know that Millard North exists.
And he goes, that's a 5-letter bad word. And he says he's jokingly. So there you go. So now you know the story for anybody that is going like to the suite level or the, whatever,
the press
in the
area
elevator
or whatever.
Yeah. So you are in the midst of 2 special people here in the city of Omaha.
I love people who just love to do their job, regardless of what the job is. Like that is just the easiest way for me to like somebody. It's just being passionate about what you do and like going to work every day, like being happy about it. And the smile he has on his face, man, working in an elevator and that heat in that stadium just all day and that slow, like little capsule going up and down and up and down. It's got to get so monotonous and so boring and honestly tough. And every time you walk in that elevator, he's got a big smile and he's happy to see you. And he doesn't even know you.
He works all day at that age.
I know.
Him and his wife. Yeah. So part of that is, and we've talked about this. I don't know if you guys have talked about this at the OBV shows. Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm a little disappointed they haven't had like a 75 moments or 75 players or honor people like the Paynes, and he would hate this, that have been to all 75 World Series. I don't think it's a CWS Inc. or NCAA College World Series of Omaha. This would have to come from the NCAA. But doesn't it surprise you guys that they haven't done anything like that?
I have no, and I thought about this. I was just kind
of bring back people from the glory days of particular teams or events and have them honored.
Hey,
they've done it in the past,
Gary.
But why not do it this year?
Gary, just take a page out of the NBA's book. Make a 75 best College World Series players of all time. Right? Make your list, release it. Maybe 10 by 10 or 15 by 15. You do a little countdown, and then you send an invitation out to every single one of the players who made the list. And there will be some who are still in the MLB who can't make it, but there will be plenty, I'm sure, who are retired or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there might be some who they just had an incredible College World Series and they didn't do, maybe not a ton after that. And it's like one of their best memories, and just say, hey, come to this game and we'll honor you and we'll put you out in the field. We'll do it like right before, during the 5th inning, we'll put you on the sideline. We'll clap for you. We'll honor you and you'll have a great time and we'll fly. Like that would have been cool. That would have been really classy and something to like talk about and a really cool moment to see whether it be 20 people or 50 people all standing up on the first base line, and we stand up and we clap and we honor the history of like the event.
I don't know why they haven't done something like that, because in the past they brought back, on the 20-year anniversary of the Rice team from 2003, they brought him back a couple of years ago and they honored him.
Yeah. Why not just...
But we haven't done anything like that. And I don't think they even have... They used to bring back legends and they would sign autographs in the Fan Fest area. I haven't heard that this year.
Well, also, too, another really cool thing, like you talk about like the 75 greatest moments of the College World Series, and like Notre Dame kind of does this for their games, but like went in between the warm-ups or anything like that, or like in between you're going after the next inning, just do a little countdown throughout the entire series. Hey, here's number 75. And you don't have to put an audio over it. Just put, number, quick little description, the play, the audio, done. And you do that throughout, like it just be a quick little honoring the history. Like the only thing that we've really done to honor the 75th anniversary of the CWS is you have a cool logo that's outside the stadium and they cut a diamond into the grass.
And
that's it.
There's no that, and it's a really cool logo. And I like where they placed it right in the front of the entrance where the statue is.
Oh, it's great.
There's no 75th anniversary logo inside of the playing field, is there?
No. And on top of that, do any of the guys, and I haven't really been paying I'm not like you. You pay attention to everything. Like you pay attention to the uniforms and the broadcast and the cameras and the presentations. I'm kind of meat and potatoes. I just sit in front of the TV and I just watch the game, right? Is there a 75th anniversary patch on the jerseys?
No, there's just the regular College World Series patch.
Why? You should put that 70, truth be told, I really haven't been listening to too much of the audio of Carl Ravish and ESPN. And even when I watch the game, I actually sync it up for our guys for 1620 The Zone. I just feel like it's like, this should be it's the 75th year. And
I think ESPN's done a good job of pointing that out. Yeah.
Okay. Well then,
because they love the people with ESPN love Omaha.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a really good job.
That's why I said that's why I haven't really listened to the audio. I don't know if they've been doing that, but why not put screw the World Series patch? We see it every year. Put the 75th anniversary patch on the jerseys, and then that way you distinguish yourself when you buy a jersey at the merchandise stand. Hey,
I was at the specific 75th anniversary. It was a really, really big deal. I just feel like it would have been a really good way to tie it together. Hey, we're tying some loose ends together this weekend as Coastal Carolina is going to take on LSU to crown a college baseball national champion. We still got a really good show ahead of you. Steve Sipple coming on 9:15. Brian Edwards, as always, at 9:45. Steve is on the line. He's got something to say, and he's got a little suggestion he wants to make. Don't go anywhere, Steve. We're going to get right to you after this break. Hey, Gary Matt is brought to you by AGR Roofing and Construction. AGR Roofing and Construction, local quality service. You can go to agrroofingandconstruction.com to schedule your first free instruction. We're talking about big, obviously. I mean, it's Omaha, it's the CWS, it's the College World Series. We have our national championship match set. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. What were you doing before? What was that? Are going to the championship. They're going to take on the LSU Tigers. we were talking about in our last segment, 75th anniversary. We were kind of saying, I wish we were able to. They did a little bit more. They had the top 75 players of all time, or they had the top 75 plays. Steve is on the line. Steve's got a suggestion. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Doing well, guys.
What do you got for us?
I think along with that 75-year anniversary, they should do something with the iconic fans. Going to the games myself since I was 4 years old for over 40 years now. I remember the Yodeler from Arizona State. You had, of course, the Bead Lady and the K Lady from LSU.
Yeah.
You have the Whistler from Virginia. Even the guy who played the Miami Maniac and actually was the mascot of the College World Series, or even the guy who played Cocky for South Carolina, who'd come and used to be the mascot of the series. Having those guys honored because they played such a huge role in my childhood and many people in Omaha.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, Steve. Those are, by the way, good on Steve, because those are like
Deep
particular
cuts.
fans that you remember. Now, everybody would root for the Whistler not to come here.
Yeah, I was
from
about
Vandy.
to say.
I don't know. It's I think we're in a point with the NCAA and the College World Series, which is ours.
It is.
There is the part of taking it from being Omaha-ish to being corporate-ish that has been in full effect for a while. When you move to a stadium like that, you're going to lose the neighborhood feel. I don't know. I think there's.
I can't speak.
I think they just want to put on the event,
Sure,
and have the event,
yeah,
and have the games, and get the games over with, and have the stadium full, and the auxiliary stuff. Yeah, it's great, but we're here to get the games and then move on. I tell you, there's an interesting thing about college baseball right now and this event, which nobody else has championships that stay in one spot. You know, we are now, us in Oklahoma City, but we've been here for 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, baseball's championship, you know where it's going to be.
Yes.
Where the other sports, they bounce around. Now, like FCS football has started to find a home in Frisco.
Sure.
And it'll come back to Frisco when they redo the stadium. But you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is I think, because you hear this, is there going to be an extension? Is there going to be an extension? The current contract runs out 10 years from now. I think there's a little bit of a concern about what college baseball will look like if the NCAA doesn't exist.
And
will it be a
separate
for the people and the teams and the schools that are in it to win it for college baseball, and then everybody else? And if that's the case, does Omaha get the one that has the people that care about it, or does that World Series go to Atlanta or somewhere in the South where there are more teams? Not a huge concern right now, but I think you have to think about that.
Well,
but there's a balance. I think that it's the one stadium looked like it fit in South O.
Yeah.
The other stadium looks like it fits in corporate America.
Yes.
And that's where we have made the transition. And I wish the NCAA, like the Dennis Pope, who would wear, jeans to the college. No, he wouldn't, but I'm going to make an analogy here.
I know
he'd be the guy that would get down, the fingernails would get dirty, and he'd be in jeans, and he'd make sure that we got the field tarped. Now you don't have that.
Yeah.
So can the NCAA, when it comes to our event, find the medium that appeases everybody? And I think at times that's tough. And I think that also adds to celebrating the past and putting that together where you incorporate Omaha and the CDBS, and they come together, and you're like, oh yeah, all of these moments.
When I told people that I was moving to Omaha,
they said the zoo.
No, they said the College World Series, right? Like, oh my God, the College World Series. And multiple people are like, they relate this event to this town. And there are people who I know aren't college baseball fans, or just sport fans, but what do they always say to me? Matt, can you house me? If I come, and seriously, man, if I come down to the College World Series, can I stay at your place? Like these are football guys. These are like MLB guys, and they want to come to the CWS. So I don't know, man. It
it just bothers me a little bit when you have an event like that tied to a city like this, and then there's even an inkling of like, it may not be here. So
well, that's that, and it wouldn't be an Omaha thing.
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
be if the NCAA doesn't exist someday.
Well, we go from one organization talking who, is pretty notorious for making some mistakes, and that would be a massive mistake, to another organization that has made mistakes a lot in the last couple of months. But the final game of their season could possibly happen tonight. We'll finally talk about it for a little bit before we get to Steve Sipple at 9:15.
Hey, look, it's your theme song from the Omaha Baseball Village.
I don't know this song. Is it Here Comes Hell? Here Comes Trouble? Is it a? Can I get a Miller Lite? Is that what?
Yes, lots of them.
So
Good
I'm
advice.
I'm a reject. That's
Listen,
Keep listening. Whoa.
this is actually. Oh, screw you! Screw you!
But he got it.
Damn
All
it.
right. That counts. That's a win for you.
I was like, this is accurate. Should I feel bad? Should I feel good? Because I'm like tired and my voice is gone and my throat is super sore.
But
just destroying my left eardrum right now. I was like, yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah,
I feel
buddy.
good. And then you call me the laughing stock of the neighborhood.
yeah, but you did it all for the nookie.
and he's
I
talking about
literally
cookies.
fought
Cookies
Josh
are great.
Odson's 4-year-old son on camera. There's like a video of me like punching him, like picking him up and putting him in a chokehold.
You
He
punched a
wouldn't-
child?
He wouldn't stop hitting me. He kept like he was throwing gloves at me.
Am I in your phone listed as ice?
No, you're listed as Gary Sharp.
Oh, not in case of emergency?
No, I don't have anybody ice on my phone that is in case of emergency.
Topical.
Or the other thing. But do you have an ice on your phone? My mom has an ice on her phone. She's the only person. I know.
You know what? I don't think I do.
I think I should just
My dad wouldn't. My dad lives too far away. I don't think that would be.
I think everybody should know that you just like I love my dad. If you called my dad, there's nothing that he's going to be able to do about it. Okay. It is my mom has always been in case of emergency. My dad would be like, would truly be like useless in that situation.
Damn.
Love him. Not my dad got the
Damn.
right job.
Shout
all right.
out Dad, I
He's an
guess.
accountant, shouldn't be a firefighter, shouldn't be a policeman.
Damn.
Not very handsy. He got the right job for him. Okay. My mother, though, very good in case of emergency. And if I need anything,
Like I can put her down as my I've not met her.
I mean, honestly, she's very useful in those situations. She'd probably like fly. My dad would be like, yeah, you can rub some dirt on it. My mother would be like, would fly into Omaha immediately, like that day, if like anything bad happened. So, I always needed my mother, and what I need more than anything else is a Game 7.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, we don't. No.
You'll get a 30-point blowout in Game 7.
I need it. I need Indiana to win tonight.
So does America.
You know what happened to the NBA?
What happened
with
to the
Game
NBA?
6 coming up, and Oklahoma City being 1 win away, which is a good story.
Yeah.
You know what has ruined the story today?
What is ruined the?
You know what is a bigger story than Game 6 of the NBA Final?
LeBron James and ring culture.
Nope.
Although that's a good point.
Is that
pretty
I would
close.
be very, very afraid of the Los Angeles Lakers.
So
Yes,
that
you should
happened. Mark Walter, Creighton alum, Northwestern alum, has
He
now
is
had
both
26
your
Involvement with the-
schools?
involvement with the Dodgers.
26% of the Lakers he previously owned. He has now bought the share that he needed to become the majority owner of the LA Lakers, which I agree with you. Like we have woken up this morning and there are definitely more stories and more people talking about the fact that the LA Lakers, like the biggest brand maybe in all of American sports, is now not owned by the Busses, who've owned it for now what 47 years, dating back to 1979. When it
winning
was
time told
purchased
us.
for $67.5 million, which has to be one of the greatest return on investments of all time in business history. We're
And
talking
that was
about
a lot
that
back
and
then.
not SGA.
And I think the financial model in the NBA, in 10 years, they'll go up $1 billion in value.
I thought so. I was really surprised that
SGA would look great in
it
a
was
Laker uniform.
because I thought 10 billion was just the
Lot of
cost.
money?
No, I thought it was just the cost
People
of
forget.
the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like I thought the Lakers would be valued at $10 billion. And so when I heard they got bought for 10 billion, I was like, oh, I thought it would be for 12, right? Because you have to like pay a little bit more than what the actual cost is. The Lakers were valued at $7 billion,
Mhm.
which I thought that
you have
was
to overpay. It's like a house.
well,
out
no,
there.
but I thought that they were 10 billion to begin with. I didn't know that they were $3 million
They are now.
short of that 10 billion mark. It is
I don't know. I think you have some of those things in your house and in your life that are very
Lakers?
valuable to you, and you would never sell them. You would never get rid of
Mhm.
them. Like they're going to be. It does not matter what the price is. It's like this is way too sentimental, and I put too much work into it, and I'm going to keep it forever.
My dog's the Lakers.
Like seriously, like everybody has a Lakers in their life, and I thought the buses would just always have the Lakers. Like
See.
no matter what, they would figure out a way to keep that name
Everyone has a Lakers.
tied to that team, and for them now to be owned by the Walters, it's just so different to me. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think probably you get a little tired of it, the day to day.
Sure,
There's the family issue, and
and she.
let's at the end of the day, there's a lot of money. So there's a lot of money that you could make, and I wonder, like, do you think that the Steinbrenners were sitting there seeing this yesterday? Because also and I don't know if this will go through or not, guy in Jacksonville who builds homes just signed an intent to purchase the Rays, and they're at $1.7 billion.
Yes,
That's the
good call.
Tampa Bay Rays for $1.7 billion. I think what's going to make the Lakers very, very scary is because they're going to become the Dodgers of the NBA. They will be a very well-run organization.
Mhm.
They will hire the right people.
Yes.
They have an owner who desperately wants to win.
This is what the league
and
wants.
will go out and grab star players. The Lakers being sold to Mark Walter and making the Lakers stronger is a better story than Oklahoma City, Indiana playing the NBA Finals and possibly Oklahoma City winning the title in Indianapolis tonight.
I'm more excited about the other
one. It is better. Oklahoma City winning the NBA title pales in comparison to the Lakers being sold.
And this is the exact problem of the NBA. This is exactly the problem that
and that's
they
too
have.
bad. That's too bad because we are about to have the Oklahoma City Thunder win an NBA championship, which will unlock with their roster the potential to
Be a dynasty.
do another one shortly thereafter.
But what if
and
they have
also
Lakers
and
on their
also have a
uniforms?
new superstar who is a legit superstar in the NBA. But you watch the pregame show tonight on ESPN or any show on
Yeah, turn
let's
it
just
on.
check
I
here.
guarantee you, it's on the A block of the.
Could
the
Dak
first take. Here
Prescott
we go.
play for the Lakers?
Okay. We were a little late.
Wow.
We were a little late. It's 9:10, so we were a little late. They're talking about Game 6.
But this is, and you said it, and I've never really heard anybody say it before, but like verbalize it in this way. But it is the exact problem of the NBA where it's just everything but the basketball, because basketball is being played tonight. The last game of the season is going to be played tonight. This should be a sad but sweet moment. Like, hey, we might crown a champion, but hey, the season's going to end. That sucks that we don't get to watch basketball for X amount of
Football's
time.
coming.
And yet we don't care. And we're talking about something else happening in the league.
Well, the bigger winner again is the Lakers being sold. Then that does more for the future of the NBA. And I'm not talking on the financial part, the attention part, than Oklahoma City does, because there's another thing about Mark Walter, and I kind of researched them, and you guys know this, and I think I've said this on air. A guy that was in my wedding has been in the Dodger front office for a while in their communications department. They're already well run, and he has a hand in that, because why they are well run with the Dodgers is, yes, they have a ton of money, okay, they spend money. But they also think big and they think creative on how to get there.
Sure.
So if you take that to a smaller organization with the Lakers and you think they're going to think big and they're going to be creative and they got money to spend and they like stars and they're in a town that is built by stars, it makes the Lakers very, very scary moving forward.
I think what people have
he's a brilliant businessman.
What people have always overlooked with the Dodgers is that, yes, the Dodgers signed Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani. They signed all these big guys. But they also draft really well. And they also develop really well.
Yep.
And they make signings and create pieces through their developmental system that allows them to trade for a Mookie Betts. That allows them. Look at Kike Hernandez. Kike Hernandez has been on the LA Dodgers for like 9 years now. Okay. And he's not a superstar, but they drafted him. They built him up. And now
he won't go away.
And he won't go away. But he's like an integral piece of everything that they've done. And he's just been a nice little plug and play. Here's Kike. Like nobody's like not a lot of teams are able to do that, able to get a guy like that, develop a guy like that, and just have him be a mainstay in their organization. It's not just, because what the Mets do is, they just go out and they spend a ton of money, right? And they sign a lot of guys. But what the next layer to the Dodgers is, no, we're going to develop talent, right? And the Lakers have been closer to the Mets in the regard that it's like, we're going to go and trade for AD. We're going to go and sign LeBron James. We're going to go in free agency and we're going to trade for Russell Westbrook. But outside of Austin Reeves, who has been that like homegrown star that they've had, that's been able to develop for them? They haven't had that. They failed at that. So now you're telling me, and I know it's baseball to basketball, but there's a guy that understands the vision in terms of not only do we need to spend big and be a big market, but we also have to do the little things that smaller markets have to do in order to win. When you combine that to the behemoth that is the LA freaking Lakers, Lord.
They'll be the evil empire of the NBA.
Which is what the NBA needs.
But this is the difference between the NFL and the NBA. Because the NFL, to a certain degree, and there definitely is some levels to it, but to a certain degree, the NFL markets don't matter nearly as much.
Nope.
Right? Like the NFL has such a big product where they have cut through the whole marketing. Like, we need to make sure that our big stars are in big markets.
I think
NBA is still very much there.
The NFL is a standalone. We can't compare other sports to the NFL.
Yeah.
But you're right. In the NBA,
they
look at
so much,
because it's not just the market. Because I think it's disingenuous to crap on Indianapolis and Oklahoma City because we're one of them.
Yeah.
All right, we're that size. They have really good teams. They just don't have large fan bases. That's my angle. It's not the market size, it's the amount of fans that you have. The Los Angeles Lakers have a ginormous fan base. Oklahoma City is a more organization. Indianapolis or Indiana doesn't have the fan base. The Lakers are a much poorer run organization, and they have a larger fan base. So that's why they get the numbers, because there are more people in their stratosphere to put eyeballs on. Then Thunder Pacers is we could talk Thunder Pacers, but there's not enough people that care about them to drive me if I'm in a business world where I got to make some money and I'm playing the hits on radio or on TV.
There are people who have never been to LA, who have never been to a Lakers game, who are Lakers fans. Okay? They've never...
Because of Showtime?
Yeah, because of just the history, because of Kobe, because of Shaq, because of Kareem, because of Magic, because of the memories that they set. They've never been to the city. They've never been to...
Random Clemson player references on the show this morning.
That Indiana doesn't have that. Indiana doesn't have.
They just don't have the fan bases. They don't have the amount of people.
A fan in Spokane, Washington, who's never been to Indiana.
Denver, Miami was a good matchup, right?
It was great. It was the two best.
I don't consider either one a small market.
No,
but the Nugget fan base and the Heat fan base is not huge.
Pales in comparison. Pales in comparison. You know who doesn't pale in comparison to anybody? Stephen M. Sipple.
Oh, there we go. We finally got to it with Stephen A.
We put this on for what? We had a 5-minute combo. I wonder what he's saying.
I don't know. He's bigger than the NBA. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem with the coverage with the NBA.
He's the logo.
Unlike any other sport, there are analysts that think they are bigger than the sport. That is wild to me when I look at coverage of sports, that you have people that cover the NBA that think they're bigger than the damn sport. What are we doing here?
Well, Jimmy, what did you say? Say it again.
He's the logo.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He's the logo. That's wild.
That's who I would be going at. Well, nobody's bigger than the sport that covers the sport. My God.
He sat up on a stage and national TV said about Tyrese Halliburton, the next emerging superstar of the NBA. He said, I would be here one within you. That is. And now and by the way, we spent, 2 weeks about him beefing with LeBron James, and we talked about it over and over again on his show, which then spurred Pablo Torre to try and investigate whether or not LeBron James was at Kobe Bryant's funeral.
I can't wait for football.
Gary Matt here on
We're always feeling good when this guy comes on the show. It's one of our favorites, the impeccable, the incomparable,
healing.
the
Sex me up.
he's gonna
Sex me up.
he's gonna heal you after he tells you all of the sexy things going on in Nebraska football. It's Stephen M. Sipple. Sip, how are you, bud?
Good. I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
God, after that lead in, that's all you got?
Yeah, you weren't
Well,
serenaded?
I know it was good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You got to speak up though. For some reason, I'm driving. I can't hear you as well.
So you don't
Speak up.
So you don't like sex?
Do you?
Oh, no. Come on.
Okay, that's a given. All right.
This is morning radio, Gary.
I don't know. I don't know how to follow that. How about the decommitment of CJ Braunau? How's that look? What's your take on that, Steve? And well, let's talk about this because Gary talked about it yesterday with Brandon Vogel and about the 2026 recruiting class. And at this point, it does not look great in terms of the fact that they have 5 commits. All 5 of them are 3 stars. And they had CJ Braunau, who as soon as there was massive competition to come and get him, they end up losing him. I understand that Nebraska wants to go after dudes and they want to go after the best athletes and they believe in what they're doing. But do you think they're going after the top guys, the big fishes in the ponds a little bit too quickly here in the Matt Rule era?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't at all.
Okay.
And all of this is, you have to watch it closely as it goes on. But I just look at recruiting so much differently now than I did even, last year.
Sure.
But certainly differently than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. In fact, these conversations are really hard to have with people because I don't think most people understand the dynamics that are involved now. Now, to answer your question, I think Rule's doing the absolute right thing with how he's adjusted his mentality. You can't, you can't recruit like Iowa State at Nebraska. Now, if you can, and it would kind of soothe a lot of the masses here, if he went out and just took a bunch of Nebraska kids. We would feel good, and we'd be talking on our radio shows about how nice it is to have all these Nebraska kids in the class. But then when Oregon comes on the schedule and Ohio State and Penn State, you're just going to get beat again. I appreciate what he's doing, at least trying to do.
So,
which is take down those teams. Now, Brownell, I don't care about Brownell. Here's why: he's a corner.
Okay,
you can go get 20 corners in the portal. It's not a problem at all.
He's a good prospect though, and you don't have any top
nice.
prospects.
You can go get 20 of them. There's 30 of them in the portal.
I don't know if there's 30 of them, Stephen.
Okay, Sip, I know what you're saying. He's going to be a good player. You can't overlook it. Stings a little bit. Yes, have they already pivoted and they're working on others? Yes, but let me go back to something Matt asked you, and I'm going to give you a little context.
I thought you were joking about Brownell. It doesn't sting at all. First of all, you knew it was happening. And now, if it were a lineman, a different sort of position, it'd bother me a little bit. But receivers, corners, I don't know. So
there's just a dime. You're looking at them, and they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. I think in this case he's a really good player, but they've already pivoted. But one of the things that what Matt asked. This is why. So when we get to this last week before the dead period, and you're waiting for commitment, and Nebraska is going to get a commitment tomorrow, okay? And it's basically 1 4-star out the door replacing with another 4-star. My feeling is this, because we know that Nebraska can usually bang, bang, bang with recruits, okay, commitments or reservations or whatever you want to call it these days. My thinking is Nebraska is so aggressive and is recruiting the kind of player that is up a level than maybe they've recruited in the past. And those are the guys that take their time. So that's why we have not seen a rush of commitments.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. Now listen, I'm not where they're at right now. Is a little unsettling, but it's just unsettling right now on June 19th or whatever it is. You got to see how these next. Oh, I don't know.
Say 2 months.
I'll just be interested in what this conversation feels like in a month.
Okay.
You know, so that's why I don't like to jump the gun either way. I just don't. I don't. You can come off sounding like a moron.
So, I don't know. I could. So you say they're a dime a dozen. The corners are a dime a dozen. Would you consider that Nebraska currently has a strong, like their secondary currently right now is a strength of the team?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay. So then why would you say that it isn't a strength of the team if there are a lot of talented corners out there that they can easily get? Is it just they haven't prioritized it yet?
No, I don't know what you're asking me there. I'm just saying that if you lose a corner, yeah, it'd be nice to have Brownell in your program. Don't get me wrong. It'd be nice, but I just don't think you can go find them. I mean, it's not hard to find corners. It's not easy to find real good corners. So I guess you're projecting that Brownell will be really good. I don't know. I mean, maybe he will be. I don't know. But I'm not going to lose sleep over a projection when there's plenty of corners available. I don't know what you're asking me about, whether they're the strong, how that affects.
Well, I'm just saying it's just I don't mean to get into an argument, but
they might be the most intriguing position because of the kind of players they have there.
Yeah. But the reason I ask is that it's kind of the thinking of like, well, if the corners are a dime a dozen in the portal, we should think that, okay, Nebraska has a really strong secondary, right?
They do. They have a lot of good corners in that program right now. The guys that are going to start are really good. Sierra Wright's a good corner. Andrew Marshall's going to come in and probably start and be good. You have Bly Hill. You have Amari Sanders. You have,
Donovan Jones.
They're in good shape at corner.
Yeah,
they have young corners. They have old corners. I'm not looking at C.J. Brownell as a guy that's like nobody's losing sleep over it.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, that's fine. I'm on. I wanted to press you a little bit there with it, but I think you make some good points. You make really good points there.
Why can't the SEC and the Big Ten get along? Are we gonna get a truce, or are we gonna get Greg Sankey rolls in for the College World Series into our territory and stomps on the Big Ten?
I don't know what Sankey's deal is, except I increasingly look at him as a villain. When I think of the problems in college football, I do this unfairly, but I think of Sankey most of the time. And why? Because it's unfair because he's just doing his job. He looks after his constituents and doesn't think about the big picture. And in fact, now thumbs his nose at the big picture. Like he'll say, don't preach at me about what's the best for college football. He doesn't care what's best for college football. I don't know who cares about what's best for college football. I don't know that anybody cares what's good for college football. It doesn't seem like it. Like I don't even know that media cares what's good. It's always about what's best for you or what's best for your market or your conference. But it's over. I mean, we're not going to see college football like it used to be. You just got to adjust to this sort of new look. And I thought Joe Moglia said it best. Tom Chattel is one of the best quotes I've heard in months. He said, "College football it's professional sports run by amateurs," and that's what it is. It's a great quote. That's the sort of the essence of what we deal with. It's not only run by amateurs; it's run by amateurs with self-interest, and that have a hard time looking beyond that. And they're not really paid to do it, and they don't, and they won't. So this is what we're going to keep getting these squabbles. These sort of all these different people heading in different directions, and that's it. I mean, we just got to when the games start, a lot of this will subside and we'll have fun.
Hey, let me one quick thing. I'm glad you brought up Joe because I've seen him a couple of times. We've interviewed him a couple of times. Matt has gotten to know his story. Was there ever a discussion? Again, this is a side, and we'll get back to what we really want to ask you. Was there ever a discussion about when he went to join Bo, because he stepped down as the CEO at TD Ameritrade and then went to Nebraska to work as, I guess his title was executive advisor. Did Bo ever think about putting Joe on the field as a coach? Do you know that?
You know what? I remember the period very well. It never seemed like it was a serious discussion to do that. That's my answer. It could have been, but it was never, he never brought it up. Bo never brought it up to me. I don't think it was.
Okay.
I don't think it was ever a serious discussion.
Steve, I think, and this is something that I've seen, and I want to know your thoughts on it. I feel like when Matt Rule came in to Nebraska, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say, I don't want to use the word pandering, but there was a lot of him trying to show Nebraska, the fan base, who he is and relate to the fan base and get everybody to know that, hey, we are on the same path. We all want the same things. And these are the things I'm going to do to accomplish that. But I feel like there's been a shift from trying to relate to the fans to, I think he's just confident. He just looks and just acts and talks more confident now because I just think he really thinks that he has a good team. Have you seen that shift as well?
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. I think he's confident in what he's doing. I think that has to do with confidence in his team. I think a lot has to do with confidence in the coaching staff. When you have Holgerson and Phil Snow and Eckler and Butler to a certain extent, I think it frees him up a little bit, frees up his mind probably a little bit. And I wonder how much of it is that. I think Dylan Raiola is a part of that conversation too. I don't think we acknowledge around here enough how, Dylan eases a lot of pressure on people just because he's so smart. You don't have to worry about Dylan. You don't have to worry about him being ready from a game plan standpoint, being ready for a practice, having his everything in order. So some of it's that. I hope you're right about he's really confident with the team. And when I say that, it's always what's in the back of my mind, Matt, is the defense.
Sure.
I'm not. I'd be surprised, I guess, if he just has unyielding confidence in the defense. And then he just thinks we're sitting on something here that's special. Now, I hope that's what it is, but I guess it would surprise me based on what I've seen. Just based on what I saw at Indiana and what I saw against UCLA.
Yeah.
I don't. Why? I don't. So maybe it's that. I do think offensively there's a lot of potential, and I think the big story will be special teams. I think that we'll see a significant turnaround, and that'll help matters a lot. I think it'll be one of those things where we're watching it, going, "Oh God, this is what special. This is what it should look like." It'll almost be like a foreign concept to us.
Well, I think there will be a game where it'll be the difference between being 7-5 and 8-4, and it'll be strictly on Eckler's area. That Nebraska is gone from 7-5, 8-4.
Hell, there might be two games like that.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a hire that is in the war wins above replacement. I think you could make him a 1.5, but it may not be just a Mike Eckler. It may be we're doing special teams and we're going to teach it and we're going to get the right guys there and it's going to be a point of emphasis. I think that's one of the biggest developments of the offseason is special teams has become a point of emphasis in a league where special teams is really good. How many other times, Sip, can you rattle off at least two special teams coaches at other schools in your own conference?
Yeah.
We've got LeVar Woods, Mike Eckler.
Yeah. And then think about that first game. The first game could be a significant special teams win. Cincinnati they hired their special teams coordinator in May. I mean,
Good point.
they have. Don't. I would think they're going to have issues. I think Eckler, your WAR stat, I'd go over 1.5. I think it could be. I think it could be a very significant thing. He blew up the specialist room, and then if you look at the guys that he has at his disposal for those teams, it's good. They have. I mean, Rule and that staff have fortified the roster to a point where you're going to have some mega athletes playing special teams, and it's going to look really good, I think.
Steve Sipple of Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket. Steve, will get you out on this. I look at this roster, and I don't think there's like an overwhelming strength of like, hey, this part of this team is for sure better than anybody else. But I also don't look at the roster and say, man, they're going to be in a lot of trouble in these specific areas. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good question. I don't know. I wish I'm not going to do this thing where I get on this soapbox, but I wish we were looking at a couple players where we're pay to see guys,
Sure.
like where we're talking about it, Levante David or Amir Abdullah. I don't see that over there right now. Maybe Vincent Shavers becomes that guy. Maybe McGahee becomes that guy. Maybe Deshaun McCullough is that guy. We just don't really know it. If somebody would pop like that, it'd be great. What you're suggesting is they're pretty good across the board. There's nothing great.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to get you. That might get you 9, but it ain't going to get you 11 probably. And I mean, I just always have preached, you can't really take your eye off the ball. I don't think you can ever settle for being 8-9 win program.
Sure.
I don't know why. And what I hope, what I'm heartened by with the Rule is he is not a guy who settles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need. He's not. Rule's not bent that way. And he's proven it in the way he's approaching recruiting. And I really appreciate it. He's given it hell, and there's no guarantees, nor should there be.
Sip, thank you for healing us. Always appreciate the conversation as always.
All right, good job, guys. Thank you.
All right, see you, Sip. It's a good job there. Got a couple pats on the ass. Sipple. This thing breaking in and out? Okay.
You know the answer to that already?
Colin thinks we have a new radio war.
I don't know. No.
Did I miss something there?
I was just I wanted to press him because I don't think I totally agree with.
Did you get into it with Sip?
No, I don't. Personally don't agree that
with Sip
portal guys, that portal corners are just dime a dozens, and that CJ Brownell losing him doesn't matter anything because he's a corner. Right?
Yeah, we here.
I just
we didn't crap.
with
We
that
didn't crap on
statement.
the kid when he had a place in Nebraska's class. I'm not crapping on him out the door.
No.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He is somebody that you don't currently have in your recruiting class.
Yes.
Okay.
So
again,
happens.
It happens. You can't ignore the fact that he's that talented. You had him, and he elected to go somewhere else. I get it. It's the business. It sucks, but you can't poo-poo it and go with the company line. Unless you turn around and you have somebody of equal or greater value that you have ready in the hopper.
And I guess just my stance is,
did you have somebody in the hopper that was going to replace Quan Lacey?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And you're hoping that, all right, if you lose these, you get to flip the other commits. But at the same time, it's like I would just love to flip the other commits and still have CJ Brownell in my class.
Yeah, like more players, better players, more better players, better.
Yeah,
right.
Regardless of where they play. And look, Sip and I can agree to disagree. It won't be the first time Sip and I agree. It won't be the last time. There's no beef. It's good conversation. It's good radio. So hey, we have more good radio ahead of you because Brian Edwards is coming up next. He's going to give you your picks, your clicks, your everything. College World Series, NBA Finals. We'll see what Brian has for us.
There ain't a shot that he is talking college baseball.
No, I know. I know. I'm throwing out all the events.
All is well.
Everything that's going on. Brian Edwards coming up next. Gary Mann on 1620 The Zone. We bring in our Vegas insider, our guy, Major Wager, Brian Edwards. BE, how you doing, my man? How's everything been?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling like a villain. We got a lot of. It's been a pretty good couple of weeks for the UFC. They put on some pretty good events. Kamaru Usman beating Joaquin Buckley, really big for I think the UFC to just get him back and going again. He's a superstar. They need more of those superstars, and he'll probably end up getting a title fight. We got another fight coming up here this weekend in another. I've been pretty impressed with these fight night cards just in general. I mean, typically they're not all that great. This one ain't bad at all. Jamal Hill will be taking on Khalil Roundtree in the who lost to Alex Pereira the best competition. But we got a really interesting and fireworks co-main event here with Rafael Fiziev taking on Ignacio how do I say that last name?
Baja Mondays.
Yes, Baja Mondays. What do you got for that one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the hot young prospect who is really on fire, and that is Baja Mondays, who is only 27. He is hoping to become the first UFC champ from Chile.
Yes.
And he is well on his way to getting an opportunity. He is now 6-2 in the UFC. He's on his second 3-fight winning streak, but these last 3 have been first-round finishes, 2 KOs, 1 submission, all performance of the night bonuses. He's a -125 favorite. And Fiziev, he was the hot guy back in 2023. He had won 6 fights in a row. He had won 3 of them by finish. And then he lost a fight of the night with Gaethje. And then his next fight, he gets a major knee injury and loses to Gamrot.
Yeah.
And, then was out more than a year. And then he takes the Gaethje fight on short notice, a rematch. I don't think it should diminish his stock because he took it. I want to say it was only on 10 days rest.
It was
I think he had to fly
short
across
rest.
the world.
Yeah.
10 days notice.
Yeah.
It was another fight of the night, but he lost again. So he's on a 3-fight skid, and he's the older guy at 32. So I'm going to go Baja Mondays -125.
Is Fiziev a gatekeeper?
I mean, unfortunately for him, it looks like he is becoming that. And but a good way to get back on track would be to, get you a win over this up-and-comer. Because, again, I mean, losses to Gaethje were fights for the night.
Yeah.
And Gaethje is one of the top 3 or 4 guys in the world at 155.
Yeah.
And then the other fight, he got an injury. So it's not too late for Fiziev to make a run, but you don't ever want to drop 4 in a row. I don't think he'll get cut because of the circumstances of the last Gaethje fight and the injury against Gamrot. But he needs a win bad, but I got to go with Baja Mondays here.
All right, let's talk some football. And the one thing I've always appreciated about you, especially when we talk in the middle of the summer before football starts, is you are sneaky in finding lines that don't make sense. And I looked at this, and we're talking about football in the bluegrass. Can't believe it's Mark Stoops' 13th year. Huh. This is a scary game if I am Kentucky. They're a double-figure favorite against a really good Toledo program. There's a lot of, what is going on with UK football? Toledo is plus 11.5 week 1 on the road. I think this is a sneaky line that you have found.
Yeah, I like Toledo here, plus 11.5. So they went into Starkville last year as a 10.5 point underdog and absolutely dominated from start to finish. I mean, jumped out to a huge lead. I could be wrong on this, but I want to say they had like a 31-3 lead at one point in the third quarter. But anywho, Toledo ends up finishing 8-5 last year. They only lost 19 lettermen, which in this portal era is a very, very low number. In fact, Vandy had the lowest in the SEC, and that number
was, I believe, 23. Let me see. Hold on. 23 is the lowest in the SEC. Toledo's only lost 19 lettermen. They've got a veteran quarterback in Tucker Gleason, 24-8 TDI and T ratio last year, and he also had 7 rushing touchdowns. He's got junior Vander Ross, receiver, 85 catches, 957 yards, 5 touchdowns back. They hit the portal for 19 transfers. 10 were Power 4. 3 of those guys were 4-stars coming out of high school. And Kentucky's going to struggle, man. I've already played their under 4.5 on their win total.
Whoa.
That's just crazy that Mark Stoops in his 13th year, that's their win total.
That's cool.
Yep. They lost a lot of key guys. They lost their 2 best receivers, Dane Key, obviously, to Nebraska, who's going to be a big-time player for the Cornhuskers. And they lost Barryon Brown to LSU, might be the best return guy in the country. You know, Calzada's been out of, FBS for a couple of years. We'll see what he's got. But Toledo's national unit rankings from Phil Steele, they're getting some respect. 58th at quarterback and running back, 43rd wide receiver, 59 O-line, 47 D-line, 26 in the secondary, 33 special teams. And Kentucky in the national unit rankings aren't nearly as impressive as that. Give me the Rockets plus 10.5.
Game 6 of
11.5. I'm sorry, 11.5.
Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight, and unfortunately, you got superseded by the fact that the LA Lakers got sold. Not that there was an overly big amount of interest in the series anyway. But this is a definitely wait and see situation for gamblers here, Brian, because we don't know the full status on Indiana's best player, Tyrese Halliburton. How are you managing a situation like this where we don't fully know if he's going to be, ready to go?
Yeah, I think, Neil, you just wait in terms of betting the side or the total. But What I'm not waiting on is betting. And my accounts have not been giving me TJ McConnell props, but they have for this game. And before, we get a Halliburton potentially ruled out, I mean, I tend to think that he'll probably just try to play. But regardless, McConnell had 18 points and 4 assists in just 22 minutes the other night. I would think you might get an uptick in minutes, but his 10.5 points is the over-under. I already played that at a plus 102, and then I already played over 4.5 assists for McConnell. So over 10.5 for McConnell, point over 4.5 assists. That's what I've done. If Halliburton were to get ruled out, I don't know how much. I think the line moves to at least 8, maybe even 9. I mean, if they were to get it up to 9.5, 10, I might play the Pacers just thinking TJ McConnell is going to get extra minutes and play really well because he is, in my opinion, the best backup point guard in the league. And when he does get opportunities to play 30-plus minutes, he usually thrives.
Currently, over the counter, you can get Indiana for plus 6.5. We'll see how that adjusts as we get to know more about Halliburton's injury situation. Thank you so much, Brian. Really appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, talk to you soon. B.E., I'm a little nervous about the whole McConnell thing just because now, I mean, not that the Thunder didn't know, but now they really know. Like, hey, we can't let this guy beat us again because he nearly did that and looked like their best player, especially in that second half against the Thunder. But we will see. Do we crown a new champion, Gary Sharp, or do we get a Game 7?
Oklahoma City wins tonight, pulling away late.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's a pull away.
Oh, it's over.
I think it'll be. You'll know in the second quarter that Oklahoma City's probably going to end up being the NBA champion. That's my prediction.
That? Oklahoma City is going to win an NBA championship.
And they did it without Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden.
I think one of the more impressive things about the Thunder is they've been able to get there, rebuild, and get there again.
And now you can't say...
Is ever a curse of the Sonics? Tonight's the night.
Well, here's another thing, too. It's not like you're picking up the ashes of the Sonics and you're raising it to win an NBA championship. They built this team completely on their own. They are the Thunder when they built this team.
I can't wait to watch the NBA tonight to hear about the Lakers sale. And Cooper Flagg this time next week will be a member of the Mavs.
How much Giannis Antetokounmpo talk will we get tonight in the NBA Finals?
Maybe more Kevin Durant.
Tomorrow, we won't be talking about that. You've been listening. I've been Matt McMaster. That's been Gary Sharp, Jimmy Chavez on the ones and twos. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back in 20 hours here on 1620 The Zone.